Okay, everyone, we have massive breaking news. Now, I will say that it is not confirmed 100% because the information is coming from Axios, but yeah, it's pretty bad what we're hearing right now. So let's see. Oh shit, I fucked up my damn title, didn't I? Yeah, I was typing too fucking fast. So there we go. There, I fixed it now. All right, it's not fucked up anymore. But again, if you're here for intelligent coverage, you're in the wrong place. But anyway, hi everyone. One of these days, I'll be able to afford someone that can run the show for me, like all these other fucking YouTubers, people that get all their notes for them and go, hey, my producer set up my stream, yet I don't have a producer, okay? I'm a retard with a microphone. I don't have anybody to do it for me, and that's the way I want it. So fuck them. Fuck them if they can't take a joke. But unfortunately, we're not dealing with a joke right now. Now, a lot of these reports are coming directly from Axios, and they have been known to be they have been known to spread fake news recently and try to get chaos and panic out there. I actually have Fox News pulled up, and Fox News thinks this is so important, everyone. The multi-billion-dollar Fox News thinks this is so important that they've decided they're going to run commercials. So that's how important Fox News thinks the situation is right now. Let's go ahead and get some commercials in. Not even worry about this situation currently. So that's where we are on that. But we are getting a lot of different reports. You know, we have video right here happening now. Air defenses seen activated over Qatar after Iran fired a barrage of missiles at it, likely targeting the U.S. base, the base used by U.S. forces right here.
Allahu Akbar. Madam. Allahu Akbar. Madam.
Now, again, this is coming directly from Axios. So is that video legit? Is that old video? Spoiler alert, I didn't understand a damn thing that the very, very nice gentlemen in the video were saying. But right here, breaking no indication of impact after Iran launched multiple ballistic missiles towards the airbase in Qatar, according to Fox News. So let's hear what Fox News has to say.
About this about 45, more than an hour ago now. Are we where your sources are telling you that we thought we'd be? Have we gone someplace that we're at least prepared to deal with?
Well, Harris, right now, what we can tell from open source reporting on Twitter, you can see imagery of about what we're told from Israeli sources are 6 ballistic missiles that have been fired from Iran towards Qatar. As you know, as we discussed, the Al Udeid base, the largest U.S. Base in the Middle East, is about 40 miles from the capital of Qatar, from Doha. You can see the night skies over Doha right now, and there are explosions in the air. Some of those may be air defense missiles, Patriot missiles, trying to intercept those ballistic missiles. We have no indications of impact at this point. As you and I discussed before, there were satellite images from last week of Al Udeid, where the U.S. normally has a large number of transport planes, refueling planes, that those tarmacs had been emptied of those warplanes. But Al Udeid normally would have 10,000 U.S. troops based there. There had been warnings to U.S. embassy staff to shelter in place and at other embassies across Doha. We also now are learning that the airspace over UAE, the United Arab Emirates, where the United States military has another large military base, that airspace has been closed. And we also understand could be an imminent threat.
Is she saying Qatar wrong, or have I been wrong the whole time? Brother, you're in the wrong place to find out if you're supposed to pronounce words correctly. I can't help you there.
To U.S. troops and personnel at bases in Iraq. That, if you remember, just 5 years ago, Iran fired ballistic missiles, dozens of them at U.S. troops in the wake of Qasem Soleimani's killing. So a lot of intelligence warnings. We brought it to you on air just a little while ago, and now it seems that those explosions are being heard over the capital of Qatar.
So here we have this video right here. I don't know if this is the same. Is this the same video I just played? Look at this. Who's playing music? This is actually just this is just the newest nighttime show at Epcot at Walt Disney World. So just want you guys to know this is the latest nighttime show. This is a very diverse nighttime show, fireworks show at Walt Disney World. So really appreciate the music playing in the background to set the mood. But yes, in all seriousness, we are dealing with a pretty serious situation. So yeah, dude's just chilling on his boat. Let me see. Got that one. Okay. None of this is good. I will say that. None of this is good. All right. We have one from remarks. Okay, let me pull up Fox News Live. Let's see what they're saying live right now. They have come back from their commercial, so I'm glad that they did that.
That it has launched an attack against the Al Udeid Air Base, the American air base there just outside of the capital city. It is the largest air base, American air base in the Middle East.
And we're going to dig into that in just a moment. We'll take it to the maps. Fox News team coverage begins right now. Rich Edson has the latest from the White House. Trey Yanks is standing by in Tel Aviv. We're going to begin, however, with Jennifer Griffin. She's live with breaking news at the Pentagon. Jennifer, what is the latest that we're learning out of Qatar at this hour?
Well, Sandra, we had reported about an hour ago that there were very serious intelligence warnings that Iran was planning a strike targeting U.S. air bases across the Middle East, especially looking with all eyes on Qatar tonight. Now we understand that the president of Iran has put out a statement describing the attack as having begun, and they are calling it the Annunciation of Victory. And he says that this is a righteous response to the U.S. strikes over the weekend. We know from Israeli sources that the Israelis believe that 6 ballistic missiles were fired from Iran. We've seen evidence of air defenses being fired off in Qatar. The skies over Qatar lit up earlier tonight with those air defense interceptor missiles. It's not clear whether they intercepted any of those missiles that apparently were fired from Iran. The intelligence that I had been reporting on earlier today suggested that either medium ballistic range missiles as well as short range cruise missiles were suspected of being put into position and potentially targeting U.S. bases. We now know that the airspace over Al Udeid has been closed. That, as you mentioned, is the largest air base in the Middle East. Normally 10,000 U.S. troops are based there. Most likely they had been dispersed in the past week. Then we also have seen some reports of sirens in Kuwait at the air base there, as well as the airspace over the United Arab Emirates being closed, given the concerns over Iranian missiles and the potential for more Iranian attacks. We also know that in Iraq, where the U.S. also has a significant presence, that the sirens have sounded at the airbase in Al-Assad in Iraq. So right now, all eyes on the Middle East. The Iranians said they would respond to the U.S. Strikes this weekend. The U.S. military was prepared for that. They expected this. And right now, we're watching as the air defense systems do what they do best.
Hey, Jen, it's John here. Apparently, Bahrain says that sirens are sounding there. They've told their citizens to take shelter. Iran's armed forces, according to Reuters, says that they will not leave any attack on Iran's territory unanswered under any circumstances.
Well, right now, Trump and Hegseth are in the Situation Room that was just reported. So Trump and Hegseth and his team are in the Situation Room right now.
Circumstances. However, we've seen a lot of the outgoing fire coming from the Al Udeid Air Base area. We've seen explosions in the sky. We haven't seen any explosions on the ground. Does that mean that they intercepted all of the missiles, or too early to know?
It's too early to know, but certainly a good sign that those air defense interceptors are going up into the sky. We have not seen any explosions on the ground, so that's good news as of now, but certainly very, very tense at all of these bases across the Middle East. And you know, Bahrain is, of course, home to the U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet. We had reported earlier in the week, last week, that many of the U.S. Navy vessels had gone out to sea protectively, knowing that something like this could happen. The U.S. has been in a very strong defensive posture, knowing that Iran would likely respond to this weekend's attacks. So this is not a surprise to the U.S. military or to U.S. intelligence. This has been part of the preparations. They knew that the weekend's strikes would likely elicit this kind of response. What we do know is that Iran has tens of thousands of short-range missiles that they can fire, and it's just a few-minute flight across the Persian Gulf and Strait of Hormuz to those bases where the U.S. is normally located. So again, the amount of time that it takes and the ability of Iran still, even after more than a week, 10 days of Israeli airstrikes, taking out nearly half, if not three-quarters of their missile launchers. They were looking at a lot of the ballistic missile launchers, but the short-range missiles, Iran has just thousands of those, and they can cause a lot of problems. Then, of course, Iran has, as we've seen, swarming drones and the ability to swarm drones. That is what they have provided to Russia in Ukraine. We've seen the development of drone warfare out there. And so those air defense systems can be overwhelmed. We've seen that in the past. But right now, it looks like we've seen the interceptor missiles.
Well, there's other reports saying that there's 3 unconfirmed hits right now on U.S. bases, but these are unconfirmed. So I'm following it right now, but it's unconfirmed.
Fired up over
Stay safe, Jagerbomb.
Qatar into the night sky, and no evidence yet that any of those missiles have landed on their targets.
Yeah, I mean, it's crossing over Reuters as well right now that the Qatar air defenses intercepted this missile attack on the U.S. military base there. Also crossing UAE airspace is currently closed based on flight paths and air traffic control audio that is coming in via flight radar. So a lot happening. And as this is happening, Jen, I should note that the security meeting at the White House in the Oval Office with President Trump was set to begin at just a few moments ago. We expect that meeting is probably happening right now. Do you expect anything to emerge from that, or do you think this will still be obviously a top secret, quiet meeting that we will not hear what comes from that in the coming minutes?
Well, it's hard to say at this point. It's clear the timing of that meeting. It may be no coincidence. There, again, the intelligence picture was pretty clear earlier today amongst those that I was speaking to, both in the region as well as in Washington. So there, and the U.S. military knew that the Iranians would respond. And so it is no surprise to the U.S. military or the commanders at U.S. Central Command and elsewhere that this was going to be the Iranian response. Now it's just a question of, to what degree, how many rounds is this going to be? Is this a one, they're firing off, it appears at this moment, given the air defense sirens that have gone off and the warnings at multiple places in across 4 or 5 countries where the U.S. is based. Is this one round? Is it multiple? Will they be able to get off more missiles, or is this a show of force, a symbolic firing of missiles that the U.S. anticipated, that is for the Iranian leadership to show that they are still in control, still in power, that the Iranian regime is not on the verge of falling? That is really the concern, I think, for the Iranian regime tonight. They need to show that their own people, this is for domestic consumption as much as anything, to show that they...
So right now I'm trying to follow a lot of this other news that's going on, because Fox News, I might be a bit behind on their feed. I saw this tweet from Charlie Kirk right here. There are reports of 3 direct hits on U.S. base in Qatar. No initial reports of U.S. casualties. So that's where we're at right now. So I don't know if that's been confirmed or not. Let me get this moved up, this feed moved up a little bit here and go back to this feed right here.
Of those longer range mobile missile launchers. They say that they've taken out up to 2/3 of those launchers. But again, it only takes one ballistic missile to get through. And again, the Iranians have thousands of shorter range missiles, and all it takes, it's a much shorter flight to Qatar and to the UAE and to the Gulf states where the U.S. is based. And then, of course, the Iranians have many other weapons in their arsenal. They have anti-ship missiles. They have the ability to mine the Strait of Hormuz. I'm told that that would probably be their last option, but if the regime really felt that it was threatened, but it would be very significant because it would disrupt all those the shipping lanes, and it would take, I'm told, about a week for the U.S. Navy to demine if they were to actually lay the mines in the Strait of Hormuz. But all of these things are on the table. I think, you could be seeing short-range missiles fired from barges in the Persian Gulf. That certainly is part of the Iranian playbook. We don't know at this point what was fired. Again, it's Israeli sources that are reporting that it was 6 ballistic missiles. Certainly from
Did you hear that? Israeli sources are the ones that's reporting all this.
looking at the
Just
skies
saying.
over
Just
Qatar,
saying.
and the interceptors that were fired earlier, just within the last hour. We see no evidence that any of those ballistic missiles landed.
Let's see. Jeremy Griff's off war now. Yeah. Just wanted to clarify that.
The short flight pattern is really what has people worried. It's such a short distance between Iran and those bases in the Gulf states.
Jen, I'm just looking at a statement that is crossing the wire right now through Reuters. Iran's top security body tells Qatar this action does not pose any threat to our friendly and brotherly neighbor, Qatar, making it obviously very clear that this is a targeted attack.
Now, a little bit earlier today, President Trump released a True Social tweet. I'm not going to call them truths. I think that's super gay. That the tweets on True Social are called truths. I think that's one of the gayest things I've ever heard. So it's a tweet. I will never call it a truth, not unironically anyway. But he did warn Russia not to use the N-word. So hopefully Russia does not use the N-word. I responded with this right here, just a picture of Hulk Hogan spray painting something that starts with an N, and to the uninitiated could be an I that he is following up with, but I don't know. But either way, that was out there. We have so General Raising Kane and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, along with President Trump, are in the Situation Room right now, monitoring the situation. And let's see here. We got this. President Trump is in the White House Situation Room monitoring Iran's retaliation as U.S. fighter jets scramble from the airbase in Saudi Arabia. We have sirens going on in Bahrain. Let's see here. So it's pretty chaotic right now. All the stuff that we're seeing. Obviously, the top priority is to pray for our troops. That is the top priority, as always. Nathan C says, this is the wet dream of Netflix Yahoo. Andrew CR says, U.S. bases of states. Yeah, I fucked that one up. Tired Retro Gamer says, this is why we can't have nice things like world peace. UP says, early and straight. Free Men Die Free says, entirely predictable Iran would fire at U.S. bases. This is why Trump is stupid for striking Iran. It won't de-escalate, and it isn't meant to. Jaeger Bomb for 10 says we might have to leave Bahrain due to events going on. Might be the key word. Wish us luck. Brother, prayers up for you. And prayers up for all the troops. Hero of Canton says it's pronounced Qatar. If they want me to say Qatar, then they need to spell it Qatar. I'm from the United States of America, and it says Qatar, okay? Qatar. If they want me to say Qatar, they can fucking spell it Qatar. All right? Cultural breakdown says, watch the fat electrician's video titled America obliterates half of Iran's navy in 8 hours. They're not a threat. Let's see. Burb Shit says Qatar's last stand. Well, you spelled it Qatar. I got that one. JRG Project says the Qataris are in particular have gotten a lot closer to the U.S. as trade partners. This was a direct towards our trade partners. The Saudis will be next, along with every other nation Trump visited. Golden Nugget says, I said this before, it's been hard to stay away, but I need to step back from the internet engagement. Thank you for the support. 7 years watching. Hey, man, you always got to disconnect, bro. I totally understand that. Warbrewer says, Jeremy, hear me out. Would. Exalted Patriarch says, will the IDF respond in kind on our behalf like we did for them, or is our involvement a one-way street? I mean, I remember, I don't know if you guys remember this, but back during the Summer of Love, do you remember when Netflix Yahoo basically said, we're willing to offer any support we can if your country burns to the ground from left-wing activists? Oh, that's right. No, he didn't. He didn't offer any support. Yeah. Or when just recently when Los Angeles was burning, I remember Netflix Yahoo offering all type. Oh, wait, no, he didn't offer support either. Man, I guess I got that wrong. Cole Hauser says, until Pete Hegseth speaks, don't believe anything. That is a very, very, very good piece of advice right there. So right here we go. So the U.S. base in Qatar reports no casualties and no damage. Praise God if confirmed true. All eyes on Bahrain attack, which is ongoing. So that's the latest right there from Charlie Kirk, which again, he's not confirming anything. He's just saying that that's what he's hearing right now. So I'm keeping an eye on all the updates that I see coming in right now. But yeah, right now, no casualties or damage right now being reported. Timu missiles. Yes, Timu missiles. Worst attack ever. Let's see. Let me go back to the live feed and see if they have any new information over here.
Military base, thank goodness. And the top security body there, Iran's top security body there, is saying the armed forces used the same number of bombs that the U.S. had used in attacking Iran's nuclear facilities. That is per the latest statement that we've been digesting, Trey. Please do weigh in on that. As John and I were just discussing, is what we're seeing, is this evidence of diminished capabilities on the part of Iran?
Look, the types of missiles that the Iranians are likely using against American interests in Qatar, as Jennifer noted, are some from their shorter range arsenal. Cruise missiles or possibly medium range ballistic missiles, but not the same missiles that they were using over the past 11 days to target major Israeli population centers. A Qatari source just sending me another statement that I do want to just read here live. From a spokesman for Qatar's foreign minister saying, we reaffirm that dialogue is the only way to overcome the current crisis and ensure the security in the region and the peace of its people remains. And so the Qataris still, amid all of this, encouraging diplomacy and dialogue in the region. They have been one of the leaders in the Middle East over the past more than 600 days, trying to de-escalate regional tension, bring all parties to the table, and ultimately find some sort of off-ramp. Ceasefire agreements, or at least temporary understandings. But as this war develops between Israel and Iran, there is concern that this could spiral and continue, because we heard from President Trump directly, we heard from Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, that any attack on American interests in the region would be met with a response. Everyone from American officials to current and former Israeli officials warned Iran against such an attack taking place. Now, while this is limited in nature, it certainly does bring this entire conflict into a new chapter and raises questions about how the Americans might respond to this direct attack.
Yes, and if you're just tuning in, and I'm gonna have to keep updating everybody because I know we're getting new viewers in every few minutes, but President Trump, Pete Hegseth, and General Raising Cane all in the Situation Room right now at the White House monitoring this. It is right now no reports of damages or injuries right now as we speak. As you see, it's like this is not a GTA 6 teaser trailer, by the way. I know you see the music, guys chilling on the boats. This is not GTA 6 or anything like that, so just want to clarify. Like the fact that the music is playing is absolutely like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Good Lord.
Was preparing for this possibility. You might remember about 2 weeks ago, President Trump ordered a partial evacuation of the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. There was a voluntary evacuation for the dependents of U.S. Embassy personnel and military spouses and children in places like Bahrain and Kuwait. The United States understood that as a war would develop between Israel and Iran, that U.S. interests in the region could come under attack. And of course, with those U.S. strikes against the Iranian nuclear facilities, those 3 facilities over the weekend, the officials here have been bracing for such a response. Israeli officials, though, remain on high alert, understanding that this is certainly not the end of Iranian response as it relates to Israel. But as for American forces in the region, again, the latest information that we can report attributable to Qatari officials is that there were no injuries in these strikes that took place just earlier this hour. And there is initial reporting coming in right now from the New York Times indicating that Iran coordinated the attacks with the American air base in Qatar, and Qatari officials gave advance notice that the attacks were coming to minimize the casualties. Again, that information attributable to the New York Times, but this is not surprising because they did a very similar coordination back in 2020 in response to the killing of Qasem Soleimani, that drone strike that President Trump ordered. This was meant to contain possible escalation in the region. And so we'll work on matching that reporting from the New York.
So yesterday we had, you know, when everything happened, you know, you had people like Gay Rubin tweeting stuff like this out. And that's a wrap on World War III. Unfollow grifters accordingly. And I saw when I commented and, you know, criticized Gay Rubin, who buys his children, by the way. When I criticized him, I had some people say, Jeremy, he's got Trump's back. What's the problem? Dave Rubin doesn't have anybody's back except his boyfriend's. That's the only back that he has. Dave Rubin is a piece of shit. Dave Rubin campaigned for Ron DeSantis. Dave Rubin is an emotionally weak gay man who buys children. Nothing that Gay Rubin says should ever matter, or you should give no credibility to anything that this loser says. None whatsoever.
Which would be far below the number of bombs that were dropped on Iran. I mean, does this suggest that this is merely a symbolic response so that the Iranian regime can say, we punched America in the nose, whereas really, I mean, they didn't even ruffle a hair on our forehead?
Yeah, absolutely. And they do this often to try and contain possible escalation in the region. We were on the ground in Baghdad, Iraq, when that other ballistic missile attack took place back in 2020. And there was an understanding that American interests could be moved. There was a warning to U.S. troops to prepare to get into shelters. There were a lot of minor injuries for forces then.
So one of the things we're keeping an eye on is Bahrain. Let's see right here. Sirens are going off right now. In terms of the 6 missiles that were launched at U.S. bases, all the reports are coming back that no casualties and no damage. But I don't know if that's confirmed. I'm seeing it from a lot of the different places that run with every piece of little news that they can. But as it stands right now, nothing has been confirmed in terms of damages or casualties. But those are the reports that are out there. Okay, so as we keep an eye on that, we will go back to see if we have any live updates from
directly involved in the fight. And the
mainstream garbage news
has been extremely weakened following the 11-day campaign that the Israelis have launched not only against their nuclear facilities, but also against top IRGC officials. Remember, in that opening wave, the Israelis took out nearly the entire chain of command for the IRGC.
All right, so I guess that was Fox News reporting no injuries or damage. So it's like, what, was that them just doing it to do it? You know what I mean? Like, let us just launch some missiles so it looks like we're attacking, but we're not actually trying to do anything. We're just trying to do it to save face. Is that what that was? Like, what was the point of this? This is what it feels like.
Of course, they knew that if there was going to be a regional war, it would come in waves. And so they have capabilities. They still can target U.S. interests in the region. But again, it appears today that they've tried to limit this with just targeting initially this U.S. base just outside of Doha, Qatar. And according to reports, coordinate their response as to not drag the United States into the war more directly. Guys.
All right. Trey, also just want to get this in here. Bahrain now says it has shut down airspace temporarily amid fears of retaliation by Iran against these U.S. attacks. Also, Rich Edson reporting for us has just informed us that President Trump is not yet in that situation, the situation room for that security meeting.
There you go. That's an update.
We do anticipate that is still happening, but we haven't gotten yet word that he has entered that meeting.
And then Machiavelli memes like randomly post this meme of Dak Prescott. Like, I was not expecting to see a Dak Prescott meme over this, but I guess I'll take it. So there's a Dak Prescott meme for you. Didn't see that one on the bingo card.
Yesterday, for Iran to return immediately to nuclear negotiations with the United States, both the Secretary and President Trump himself have since Saturday been issuing pleas for the regime to consider, one last shot at diplomacy. There's about a minimum of 8,000, anywhere up to 20,000 Americans, civilians on the ground inside Qatar. So, there's a lot of folks in harm.
What does that meme mean? It said, the meme said Iranian missiles intercepted. Basically, it was showing Dak Prescott is known for his interceptions. He throws to the other team, essentially, instead of his own team. And Dak Prescott's overrated as shit. That's really what it comes down to. So when it said Iranian missiles intercepted, showing a picture of Dak Prescott and interceptions, that's the meme right there.
From intelligence reporting this morning that something specific to Qatar was in the works. They issued what they call a shelter-in-place order for the entire state of Qatar, telling Americans not to travel, not to leave their homes, not to leave buildings, to stay wherever they were. Those alerts were followed quickly by similar warnings from the Chinese government, from the...
I'm starting to believe that this is all just bullshit. Like, in terms of like, this was never meant to hurt the United States base. This is all posturing, and this is ridiculous that now there's this overreaction to all of it right now. This is not a legitimate attack at all, and which kind of opens a bigger question of what the hell are we actually doing right now? So yeah, it's again, I said this a while back that politics is basically the new WWE. It's the new WW, or especially stuff. It's old school WWF. The Attitude Era is here. And it's a far better product than current WWE anyway. At least there's some believability to the current political landscape, whereas there's zero believability in anything WWE right now. So that's my gut feeling on it right now, because this feels like posturing more than anything, which is kind of laughable. Let's see here. New York Times report. Iran coordinated the attacks on American airbase in Qatar, and Qatari officials gave advance notice that attacks were coming to minimize casualties, according to 3 Iranian officials familiar with the plans. The officials said Iran symbolically needed to strike back at the U.S., but at the same time carry it out in a way that allowed all sides an exit ramp. They described it as a similar strategy in 2020 when Iran gave Iraq heads up before firing ballistic missiles at American base in Iraq following the assassination of its top general. And there we go right there. What are we doing? What are we doing? Seriously. I mean, it is the New York Times. So, you know, you can only take that. That was tweeted 3 minutes ago. So that is from the New York Times. So let's see what the future. Again, I don't want to just act like this is all over, but it does feel very theatrical right now.
We don't know the exact missile. They're all intercepted. How much of this is Middle East politics, and how much of this is actually an attack against the United States? I was
asking the real questions
US military
now.
Official a moment ago who suggested this was paper cuts and not real cuts.
Well, they don't have the military capability, and you know this better than I do, the Iranians, to strike on United States soil. So they are going to go for regimes that they view as sympathetic to the United States, or at least coming out somewhere in the middle. Do not for a second, John, think that the fact that Qatar, as you said, mediated between Israel and Hamas recently did not factor into the regime's decision to strike there particularly, in addition to any of those strategic military considerations. Of course, the politics here, the relations between the two countries, or the country and
I feel like we're in a simulation right now. I'm starting to lose hope on humanity all over again, because as this is going on now, the betting markets are going crazy, like we're watching an NFL football game. So the betting markets have exploded, saying there's a 62% chance that Trump will respond, and now people are betting money on a response. This is embarrassing, is what this is. This is all embarrassing. Right now, this feels like it feels like we're all being played just to get us emotionally worked up. That's what it feels like. Charlie Kirk, New York Times and Fox News reporting that Iran appears to have coordinated this retaliatory response as to not drag the United States more directly into the fight. What does that mean? What does that mean? Let's see. Go back to this. I'm keeping up with all the new tweets and
From
stuff.
the White House, and we know that a couple of members of the president's national security team, Rich, are in the Situation Room awaiting the president, getting a lot of information from the Qataris over what just transpired. A statement from the Qatari government saying that the base had been evacuated earlier following established security and precautionary measures given the tensions in the region, which would be a suggestion that there was nobody in harm's way ahead of this attack from Iran.
Yeah, that's right, John. If you look at the situation here, the indications of it all are that this is a way for an off-ramp for the Iranian government. Al-Udeid is a very hard target in that area. It's the largest U.S. presence in the region. Iran can fire several missiles at it. They can be intercepted and not cause any significant damage or as much damage as it otherwise could have. And it allows the Iranians to say to their people, and remember, this is a huge element of this, the Ayatollahs wanting to stay in power in that country.
And you remember, they'd done this before with Trump. This was, I can't remember if, I guess it was was it Soleimani I believe that they launched rockets, but they had told Trump ahead of time that it was for posturing. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that was in 2020. Can someone correct me on that one? Because Trump even talked about this at a rally. So this sounds like very similar to that.
The nuclear program being a large part of control over their own country and the domestic concerns there, they can say that we've hit the United States in its massive air base right across the strait there, and that the Gulf there, and that the United States was harmed in this attack. So that's very much, at least the perception right now, early on, what this very well could be. The president was scheduled to have a National Security Council meeting just about a half hour ago in the Oval Office. In the meantime, we had heard from a White House official that Joint Chiefs Chair General Kane, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth were monitoring the attack on Al-Udeid from the Situation Room. We asked the White House about 15 minutes ago whether the president was in that meeting with his Secretary of Defense and the Joint Chiefs Chair. We were told by an official that the president was not there yet. So unclear if he's still meeting with his National Security Council in the Oval Office or if he's headed down to the Situation Room to monitor this situation. Plenty ongoing here from the White House. We'll keep you updated as we get developments.
So that's where we're at right now. And breaking news, just as he was when he was in the White House, Joe Biden spotted in Daytona with his son, Hunter, eating ice cream.
Yo, we have to meet you. Why are we just running to Joe Biden? Oh my God, no, for real, y'all. It's Joe Biden. Joe Biden. Joe, I love you. You the best thing that ever happened to us. Did you just make Joe Biden laugh?
Joe Biden eating ice cream in Daytona Beach with Hunter Biden. What is happening right now? Holy crap, man. You got to be kidding me.
Can confirm that no injuries or human casualties resulted from the attack. But it's not just Qatar that seems to be targeted in what could be an ongoing attack targeting U.S. bases across the Middle East. We know that the United Arab Emirates has closed its airspace to commercial traffic. Of course, the United States has a very important airbase at Al Dhafra in UAE. Also, the airspace over Bahrain has been closed. We know that there have been sirens and air defense warnings at the Al-Assad Air Base in Iraq, where U.S. personnel are located. But we also know that in the last week, part of the stealthy operation before the U.S. struck those Iranian sites this weekend was to basically empty Al-Udeid of both the planes, the U.S. military planes that were based.
Okay, so they're just running over the same talking points right now. So let's see here. JRG Projects for 10 says, trust our troops on the ground. They will tell us if we got hit and our people got injured. The supreme lunatic at bare minimum will be history. Bet on it until that time. We wait. Yeah, we're starting to get more clarity now. Matt Frog says, it's a virtue signal. Trump should not respond. Helen Hunt's forehead says, I'm a Trump supporter, but I can't help but thinking embracing Cobra Kai's philosophy of strike first, strike hard, no mercy as his official foreign policy might not be one of his smartest moves. I mean, look, we're probably going to get the same exact. This is why I said it feels like we're in a simulation. It feels like the same exact process as last time. Iran is not dumb enough to go, in my opinion. And as a few of my haters in the chat have said, I am no expert on, geopolitical stuff, but I do have common sense. Now, Iran's not stupid enough to go to war with the United States of America. Trump knows that. But just like last time, they have to, because correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the people of Iran don't have access to social media like we do in the West. Correct? So they don't have access to all of the information. They are kind of boxed in. And so in terms of like them firing these missiles, this is the way that they can symbolically show their people, like, we fired 6 missiles at them, because it makes the leadership look good. But they're not actually going to war, and they're not going after us. So, and it's the same thing as what happened last time. So let me hear what they're having to say on their panel stream.
To save face for public consumption, or were they really trying to hurt the U.S.?
Yeah, John, look, the Iranians have suffered massive blows over the past 11 days. President Trump ordered these strikes against Iran over the weekend, effectively damaging their leverage, their ability to ramp up their nuclear program. What they had left was a ballistic missile program that Israel spent the past week and a half targeting. And so as the Iranians are facing all of this external pressure now from both Israel and the United States,
U.S. officials are now saying that President Trump has no intention to strike back against Iran after Iran's failed retaliatory strikes, which they described as largely theatrical. So there you go. I guess I was an expert on it because I said it before all the other reports were coming out. But yes, so this is all WWE is what this was right here. This was WWE. Twirly Wolf with becomes a new member. Thank you. Mad Frog says Dave Rubin worked for the Young Turks. He's probably only left Chunk because they disagreed on Israel. Scar44 for $20 says, I was on the ground for the 2020 retaliation attack. All missiles hit the airfield area. However, there were still troops and government civilians on the ground. So it did seem to be posturing because there were more valuable targets there. Thank you for the $20 super chat. Appreciate the information too. I appreciate that. Usage says art of the deal. Drakon says Alex Jones is saying the doomsday plane is now in the air. Thought you would want to know. Yeah, Alex Jones just has, I don't know, man. I've always loved Alex Jones, but it's not even because it's recently. Like, his headlines in the past year have been even more ridiculous than before. Like, the things that he puts in his headlines have been even more ridiculous. And he just is saying, like, he's just saying things that are objectively, like, you can tell he's just throwing things out there. And I'm like, hey, do your thing. He's a legend. I'll never hate on Alex Jones. I'll never hate on him because he's the man. But yeah, but some of the stuff he's saying right now, I'm like, okay. Because the frogs were gay. They were turning the frogs gay. 100%. Aaron James for 10 says, Jeremy, thought of you earlier. Yeah, no homo, bro. It just popped in my head. I hope you don't become discouraged. I believe bad events are to come. I'm grateful we have the best person for president. No, not at all. I mean, I don't get discouraged on anything with the internet. It's why I cover so many different things. I mean, like, for instance, I have not uploaded a video to the main Geeks and Gamers channel in over a month now. That's largely because I don't care about, like, identity politics in Hollywood anymore. I don't care about woke Hollywood. I just don't fucking care. Mainly, I don't care because they don't care. They're never going to change. And I've realized that, like, who cares? But there is some interesting stuff to talk about, like James Gunn's Superman, which I don't think is based in identity politics or wokeness. I just think James Gunn's a piece of shit, even though I do like his movies. And I'm hoping his Superman movie is good. But I'm focused on video games right now. Video games and politics. And that's my focus right now. But with Geeks and Gamers, we cover the theme parks, movies, video games, all this shit. So I'm always going to have something to keep my attention on the internet side of things. So Dan says, I'm a combat vet of 2 BS foreign wars. I can handle a little air campaign, but if he sends boots on the ground, I'm done with Trump. I think that's a very, very level-headed take. I think a lot of people share that take as well. I will be very unhappy if we have boots on the ground. Very. Shorty Short says, thanks for covering this. Thank you for being here. TCB says, Cowboy fans down bad. Let's see. Colonel Flom says, wouldn't the activation of sleeper cells that we know are likely to have gotten into the country negate a symbolic strike? Honestly, what the fuck are we doing? I feel like if there were sleeper cells in this country, I feel like that would have already happened. I just don't think that any sleeper cells on a large level exist. There might be some random individuals, but I don't think that there's any major issues, because if there were, then I feel like we would have already found out about it. But that's just a hunch. A lot of people, bring up 4th of July is near as something that could happen. So Goldhauser says, Jeremy, it's T for tat. Let's see. Iran is crazy, but not that crazy. The last thing Iran wants is rolling waves of U.S. F-15 strike eagles. Yes, this is true. They are crazy, but they're not dumb. So I do agree with that. Guafabal says, we have already lost the midterms thanks to the neocons. Now our entire domestic agenda is in jeopardy just because we had to do Israel's bidding. Well, I mean, I think that that's a very much, and I don't mean this in a negative way because I get caught up in this too. So it's not me being disrespectful, because sometimes I lose the plot too, because I get caught up in Twitter world. And when you're constantly in Twitter world, everything is the worst thing, and every day is the worst day, and every situation is the worst situation. And that's just the nature of Twitter. And so, but if you're looking at the larger scope, like all the data and all of the information tells you that President Trump's approval ratings are through the roof right now. So I don't know if he's lost any momentum. It's really difficult to tell. The Twitter situation, though, again, man, it's like anything else. Like we a lot of times we get caught up in the social media side of things, and we're thinking like, well, you wake up every day, and like when I was growing up, we had limited, channels and limited information. I mean, I still kind of like grew up into the cable news boom and all that shit, but now you wake up and every day you are hearing the literal worst news in the world from everywhere all day long. Everything is the worst news here. Oh, this is happening. Oh, there was a mass shooting here. Oh, there was a bomb going off here. Oh, this place has been attacked. We hear everything from everywhere, and we're constantly bombarded with the worst news imaginable. And, if you actually do spend time in the real world, like the other day was a classic example. I was out in the real world yesterday when the Iran attack happened, when the U.S. bombed Iran. And it was like, I'm just out in the real world and everything's great. I'm having a good time. Everything's good. And all of a sudden, boom, get notifications on my phone. We're bombing Iran. I'm like, oh God, here we go. And so it's just it's a weird dynamic. Matt Frog says that the real panicans still want you to think this country would immediately use a nuke as soon as they got one. They believe in self-preservation. What's up, Matt Frog? Fedigator says this Qatar base was mostly emptied last week. There are images posted on X. This is all fake and gay political theater orchestrated by the U.S. and Israel. It's always Israel's fault. Everything's Israel's fault. Like, again, if everything is Israel's fault, then nothing is Israel's fault. It's all... I'm at the point where I take none of those accusations seriously. And what I do is I always respond with hyperbole. So if you're going to blame everything on Israel, then I'm going to blame nothing on Israel at this point, because, like you probably are right in what you're saying. The problem is that crowd has blamed everything, every single thing that's ever happened. And I'm like, well, I don't take you seriously. So, Socrates Magoat says, what do they call forks in Qatar? Qatarly? The horror host says, Iran's response was so shit, it caused a global drop in oil prices. Is it? I don't know how to say that. LeBron. Okay. Well, first of all, I found someone that's more annoying than the anti-Israel crowd. A LeBron James fan. You are more annoying than the Israel is responsible for every bad thing that's ever happened and everything. So Anthony says, all you panicans in the chat screeching about World War III over Iranian fireworks show. Pretty much it, too. Pretty much it. Sola Felix says geopolitics was the idea of Karl Hosch. I don't know how to say that. Post World War I. Red Mage for 20 says, been catching up on this over the past few days, and I'll say that I trust Trump. Obviously, he has more info than all of us and had to make a calculated decision. It seems scary right now, but I'm optimistic. Well, thank you, Red Mage. You know, it's interesting because somebody in my comments the other day, they said that because of the argument of Trump has more information, so you should trust him to make the decision. And they said, I anticipate you're going to have that same mindset when Democrats start a war. I didn't vote for the fucking Democrats. So no, I'm not going to have the same mindset with the Democrats because I didn't fucking vote for the Democrats. I voted for Trump because I trust Trump to do the right thing with the information he provided. If the Democrats are in office and I don't vote for the Democrats, then of course I'm not going to trust the fucking Democrats. Just like I don't trust Netflix Yahoo, the Israeli prime minister. I don't trust that guy. I don't trust him for shit. That dude's a slimy sleazeball. I didn't vote for him, but I do trust President Trump. Shorty Short said, who would be better in 28, Vance or Rubio? Vance, hands down, in my opinion. By the way, so last night I watched the I watched the Marco Rubio interview in its entirety, and it was phenomenal. And I also watched the Pete Hegseth and General Raising Cane press conference, and it was phenomenal. The more I hear from this administration's top officials, the better it makes me feel about things. Now, and that's a clear distinction from if I read Twitter and if I read the post from people on Twitter that are telling me everything is horrible and everything is terrible, I of course, I'm just like anyone else. Anything can get into your head if you just sit there and listen to enough of it. So if you actually listen to all the shit on Twitter, you're like, dude, this is bad. This is bad. And then you listen to what Marco Rubio had to say. And if you listen to what Pete Hegseth had to say, you're like, damn, this is pretty legit. And so I'm pretty happy with it. Vance Hegseth 2028, I would be more behind that ticket than a Rubio or Vance Rubio. It's not that I've historically not cared for Rubio. I will admit that Marco Rubio has done a phenomenal job in this position. I just don't, it's still like, I like Marco Rubio when he's working for Trump, but I don't think I like Marco Rubio when he's not working for Trump. And that's the concern that I would have. Let's go back to Fox News, or let me pull this up real quick, see what they're saying.
Of their infrastructure, military infrastructure, any remaining nuclear infrastructure that is there. And then I think that that both the U.S., Israel, and Iran, with the help of Qatar, are going to try and get back to the negotiating table.
All right, Jennifer, thank you. All of our reporters are sticking with us. I'll get back to Jillian Turner at the State Department here. Jillian, just want to add to this that the oil markets obviously have been watched closely, as President Trump was highlighting that this morning in a Truth Social post. Worth noting that as this is happening, oil prices are taking a steep drop, now off 5%. It's more than a $4 sell-off. Worth noting the calm in the U.S. markets as these airstrikes happen.
So essentially, and this is what I'm getting at here, if you go back to Twitter 20 minutes ago, we were at World War III because of these attacks. That's what Twitter was telling us 20 minutes ago. World War III has happened. Don't be a panicking. Don't be a panicking, because guess what? Trump administration was fully aware of this entire situation. That's it. They were aware of it. It was posturing. It's fine. It is what it is. Nobody was hurt. It's the same thing that happened in 2020. If you were doing any research. And I do see this clip right here. Matt Gaetz called Trump to get his true take on Iran. Trump's private thinking needs to be heard. So as you know, Matt Gaetz had a viral clip that he was basically calling out the Israeli government for everything going on. Let's hear what Matt Gaetz has to say right here.
How have those conversations gone with the president? And can you give us like a 30,000 foot like sort of perspective on this?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really do readouts on that stuff, but what I could tell you is he is upbeat. He's very focused. He's very dialed in on this, and he is taking a lot of advice and input. And I think he's the best guy to synthesize it. The most important thing for your viewers, and I think for his administration, is he wants to make this a repeat of the Soleimani strike, not a repeat of the Iraq War.
That right there is exactly how this is playing out. With what we just saw right now, that is a repeat of, again, I think that it was the Soleimani situation, if I'm not mistaken, when Iran fired basically decoy. I think it was Soleimani. I think somebody had confirmed that earlier. So this is the same exact situation.
That is the central thing that comes out of our discussion, and we need the policies to be able to provide him that decision-making space.
So there you go. So again, don't be a panicking and just calm down and let's see how everything plays out. Let me see. Is that one? Okay. She's been, wait, what? Who is this? I know this is completely like, again, I cover the entertainment world. This chick has been cast as Chun-Li in the Street Fighter movie. Now, I'm going to have to do a little more research on this individual, just really deep research to see if she can actually pull off the role. Based on what I'm seeing right now, I'm giving my approval. But let's go ahead and bookmark this so we can do a little bit of research later. Okay? So we'll let you know. You never know, man. You never know. I mean, in the world of Hollywood, it could be a dude for all I know. Like you can never know. It's a scary. We live in a scary, scary world right now. Okay. We live in a scary world. Okay. Got that one. What is this? Kuwait and Iraq have joined Bahrain, the UAE, and Qatar in closing their airspace following Iran's ballistic missile attack on the U.S. Base in Qatar. So just posturing at this point in time is what it seems like all of this is right now. This is all theatricality and deception, powerful agents to the uninitiated. But we are initiated, aren't we, Snake Pit? Members of the 199.
Of these GBU-57 bombs, take a look at this. These are the holes that they made. Basically, when the B-2 drops these bombs, it's like Robin Hood splitting the arrow in the famous old story. That one goes in, makes the initial hole, that another one follows right behind it. The first one explodes, the second one comes in behind it, penetrates even further. And so you can get penetration, depending on what the structure of the geology is, down to about 300.
So why are they acting like this is anything? Let's see, are in the Situation Room, monitoring the potential Iran retaliation. But we're getting reports that there was no retaliation. We're getting reports that none of this was all. We're getting reports that Trump himself and the Trump administration knew about all of this. They evacuated the area. This was all. Can somebody find me that clip of Trump talking about Iran firing those missiles in 2020? Let's see. I don't know if I could find that clip. Trump 2020 missiles. I don't know if that's what's going to help find it on Twitter. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see. There's a clip of him at a rally talking about it. And as Matt Gaetz said, he's essentially just trying to have the same exact thing played out in 2020. And right now, that's exactly how it's playing out. The difference is you got a lot of people that are really getting a ton of traction. A lot of traction by going anti-Trump. And I'm not saying you're wrong for that. Go for it if that's what works for you. But Right here, shoppers flee in a panic at a shopping mall. This is in Qatar. I'm not saying Qatar. If you want me to say Qatar, spell it Qatar. So this is essentially meant to scare their own people. It's meant to scare their own people and make their own people think that, oh, look, we're attacking the United States back. Now, again, I'm speaking from a place of like, I don't know for sure, but I don't know what the internet situation is like in this area, but I would imagine it's not great. But I would imagine they don't have access to things like Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and all of that, or at least not to the level that we do. And then someone says that's the Switch 2 was going on sale. So yeah, that's what this is. This is just this is the Nintendo Switch 2 launch right here, everybody. So there you go. So the Switch 2 has now released over in Iran, and these are some of the videos from it. So there you go. Ghost Crusaders TV for 20 says Vance has been the only consistent opposition voice in the room with Trump and his top advisors, just saying he didn't want to bomb that building. He didn't want the strike the Houthis or and Iran. Rubio seems more MAGA. I mean, I know that those are the reports that were out there, but I don't know if I believe those reports. You know, we had a lot of those reports out there that JD Vance was not in favor of it, but I don't know if that's actually true. Because I think that was I don't think that was a real story. And that's the problem is we have seen so many fake stories out there in the last 2 weeks, and people have run with a lot of those stories thinking that they were absolutely true, and most of them turned out to be fake. So I don't think that story about JD was true at all. Let's see. Black and White Sports 2 says that we need to verify the thigh thickness on the chick and confirm she doesn't have a dick on the Street Fighter selection. Rhodes. This is important right here. This is important. Let's see. Thank you for the 20. I appreciate it. Aaron James says the Sum of All Fears movie is great and concerning. Ben Affleck and Morgan Freeman. Jade Runner says, just found out you reposted my comment on X. Nice. Yeah. Here, let me show that real quick. Let me go find it. Yeah, so I think it was yours that this one right here. Right here. So I pinned your post, and I thought it was a good comment because it really is like all these people that they just don't watch anything, and then they say that I'm saying these things that they aren't true. So I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Okay, back over here. Eric K says, not World War III till Germany marches into Poland or France. Vault 95 says, Cobra for lunch is the best lunch. Tim equals panicking said I didn't vote for this line. Well, I said that the other day too, in reference to us getting involved, but even I can be a little bit of a panicking at times, but as the dust has settled, I'm starting to see that this situation is very much in line with exactly what the administration has been planning the whole time. So, and that's the whole thing about staying calm and letting things work itself out and not being a prisoner of Twitter and people that are motivated to, look, it's like anything else. And I'm not hating on it, you know what I mean? But yeah, the Hodge twin thing, that really did burn me up a little bit, because it's like, if you truly are anti-Trump at this point, and I know they're not like anti-Trump like Mark Ruffalo or something, but in terms of like their belief that this is a huge mistake and a huge problem, and if you firmly believe that, and if you firmly believe that people are supposed to be using their voices to call out the Trump administration. And the more voices that we have, the stronger we are. Yet your Facebook page with 6.5 million followers was saying literally the opposite of what you were preaching on Twitter. And I'm like, how am I supposed to take you seriously if you think that using your voice is important, yet your Facebook page with more followers than your Twitter account is posting the exact opposite of what you're saying on Twitter? I don't get it. Now, again, I do believe their response that they had someone else running it, but my point being is that you still, if you think this is that important, and this is where the whole mindset of like everybody needs to think like me bullshit. Like, I don't think anybody needs to think like me. I think like somebody came in my chat yesterday. They're like, Jeremy, what is your take on the situation? I need to know what's going on. And I don't even know if they're being, I have no idea if sarcasm or what, but I would never tell someone what to think on anything. I would tell someone to do your own research and come to your own conclusion. And I don't need people to just blindly agree with me on anything. I don't need you to blindly disagree with me on anything. I just would like for you to do some research and come to a logical conclusion. And if that agrees with me, then good. And if it doesn't agree with me, good. But at least you're doing some type of informed thinking along the way. So Mawa says Candace Owens is right. Is Candace Owens right now, or is Candace Owens right 2 years ago, or was she right 6 years ago or 4 years ago? Because Candace Owens has had a different opinion every 2 years. So if she's right now, does that mean she was wrong 2 years ago, and she was wrong 4 years ago, and then she was wrong 6 years ago, but she's finally right now? Now is when she's right. Okay, so she's right now. Okay, good. Okay. So essentially what you're saying is Candace Owens agrees with me right now, therefore I appreciate her. Well, then that means she's wrong for the past 5, 6, 7 fucking years. So there you go. So yeah, no, she's right. She's right now. So now she's right, but all those other times she was wrong. Or maybe she's just saying whatever gets her attention. Could be. I don't know. Call me crazy. Call me crazy. Guava Ball says, hey, neocons, Lindsey Graham would like to remind you, don't neglect the balls. Cole Hauser says, Sum of All Fears was a bad movie. The fact that a U.S. aircraft carrier was sunk, there is always 24/7 combat patrol when a carrier is out to sea, essentially especially in hostile waters. Like, come on. If I've seen it, it's been a long time if I even saw that one back in the day, because it came out a long, long time ago. I can't remember. I don't think I've seen the Sum of All Fears. Usage says Qatar wanted to justify the expenditures, $1 billion with Raytheon for counter drone capabilities, $2 billion with General Atomics for MQ-9B UAVs, and $38 billion for the airbase in May of 2025. And then another 10 says Qatar wanted to justify the expenditure. Oh, you sent two. You sent two, Usage. So just so you know, at least I got it twice. I don't know if it came through twice, but you might want to check your billing to confirm that. I don't want you to get double charged on 10. So 2 10s came from you with the same exact message. You say, oops, okay, well, as long as you know, and if you want to see if you get that corrected on your statement. Cole Hauser says, I could use some Chinese right now. She can love me long time. Mad Frog says, the risk of not attacking the risk is not Iran attacking the U.S. It's Iran continuing its attack on Israel. Will the U.S. stay out of it if Israel gets desperate? That is a valid question for sure. Valid question for sure. Stephen Strange says, for Jeremy's Joe Dirt mullet fund. Raging D-Head says, this very much comes across as posturing move by Iran. Wired Robot says, we have always been at war. Let's see, George Orwell, 1984. Mod Eric says, the bombs I support are the bombs Jay dropped on those lesbians in the store. The epic meltdown was awesome. If you're just tuning in, there were multiple reports that Iran fired 6 missiles at United States bases in the area, and there are no reports of damage, no reports of casualties, and it turns out that it was all just posturing on Iran's part, which is very reminiscent of what happened in 2020 with the Trump administration when they fired on Iran. So this is all just part of the plan, it seems, at the time that I am talking about it right now. Let's listen in to what the latest update from Fox News is.
Is anywhere near a tipping point here, or do the authorities in charge now, led, I guess, by the IRGC, still have a pretty good handle on all the levers of power there?
Look, Israeli officials say they still have a pretty good handle on the situation in Tehran. But it's important to note the Israelis have gone after much of the military leadership, trying to decimate top commanders from the IRGC. And the strike today on the American base outside of Doha, Al Udeid, is a significant development, but it's also a coordinated development. The Americans knew there would be some response from the Iranians following these strikes that were ordered by President Trump over the weekend against Iran's key nuclear facilities. And this is in part because the Iranians are looking to save face domestically. They're under immense domestic political pressure. We have seen the images of Iranian civilians, millions of them evacuating the capital of Tehran.
So based on the information, this all was just pretty much about nothing. So I had to quote tweet myself from my tweet a couple of days ago. Twitter right now, I'm something of a foreign policy expert myself. And as you see, everybody freaked out and said, World War III is happening, guys. They're firing at us. They're firing at us. It's over. Trump started World War III. It's over. And now you're finding out that this was all just theatrics. Theatricality and deception. Powerful agents to the uninitiated. But we are initiated, aren't we, Snake Pit? Members of the 199. We got this. We know what's going on, okay? We know what's going on.
Ability to fire back at Israel. And while we certainly have seen that there are fewer missiles flying through the skies of Israel in recent days, they still have the ability to coordinate these counterattacks. And so we saw the ballistic missile attack this morning that targeted those installations in the south of Israel and also residential areas in the north. And then just last hour, this attack against a U.S. base in Qatar. The key here is the missile supply and the ability to launch these missiles. It is not surprising that they used short and medium range missiles in the attack today on the U.S. base in Qatar, because the Israelis have been going after their long-range missile supply. They have tried to take out as many of the launching positions as possible, and the Iranians have had to systematically start moving where they're firing the missiles from, because the Israelis have control over the skies of Tehran and the surrounding areas. And again, as we can report at this hour, Israel is currently striking targets in and around Tehran, an indication that they will keep up this air campaign in the hours and days ahead. And I'm checking with sources here in the region to try to get an understanding about the current security alert in the Gulf right now, because there is concern that this event retaliating against the United States, directly targeting a U.S. base that normally houses around 10,000 American soldiers, may not be over. And so everyone here is in a high state of alert. The Israelis as well, certainly coordinating intelligence behind the scenes with the Americans as this operation continues. But remember, we learned from Israeli sources over the past 2 days that ahead of the American strikes that took out, in part, these nuclear facilities in Iran, there was an effort by the Israelis to take out the air defense systems of the Iranian regime. Not only
new tweet from Trump. The sites that we hit in Iran were totally destroyed, and everyone knows it. Only the fake news would say anything different in order to try and demean as much as possible. And even they say they were pretty well destroyed, especially working especially hard on this falsehood is Allison Cooper of Fake News CNN. Dumb Brian, he called it dumb Brian L. Roberts, chairman of Comcast, Johnny Carl of ABC Fake News, and always the losers of, again, Comcast NBC Fake News. It never ends with these sleazebags in the media. And that's why their ratings are all at an all-time low, zero credibility. Holy shit, dude. Allison Cooper. He called him Allison Cooper. Yep. That's what I voted for right there, by the way. I voted for that. All right. So, and call him Allison Cooper. Oh, shit. Good stuff. Good stuff. So that is the latest from President Trump. Let me see here. I just saw a tweet that I wanted to show, and it disappeared on me. As it all just drives me crazy how Twitter works like this. Yep, I don't know where it went, so I'll have to search it. Yeah, for some reason, Twitter just like you'll be on your feed and you'll see a tweet. You're like, oh, this looks like an interesting tweet, and then it updates and disappears. Right here. All right, so here is the basics of what happened today. The president does not want more military engagement in the region. A senior White House official has told CNN, saying the White House was expecting the retaliatory strikes. Trump administration was anticipating the retaliation from Iran. But I was told this is World War III. I was told that everything was over. I was told that this is the end, ladies and gentlemen. You're getting ready to get drafted, MAGA. Hey, MAGA, this is what you voted for. You're about to be drafted. The Trump administration was anticipating Tehran would retaliate after U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear sites over the weekend, and the president does not want more military engagement in the region, a senior White House official told CNN. Man, what a warmonger. He's about as bad of a warmonger as he is a racist at this point. He's about as bad of a warmonger as he is a racist. We knew they retaliate. They had a similar response after Soleimani, the official said, referring to the Iranian commander killed in the U.S. airstrike in 2020. So this is the same exact situation playing out. Don't be a panicking. Calm down. Take the information in. Breathe a little. And just let things play out for how they're going to play out. So the person that is most affected by this, and I really, really hope that this person is doing terribly right now, Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham's not doing too well. Man, Lindsey Graham is struggling right now. He was really, really hoping we'd get more war. Poor guy. Poor guy. Feel bad for him. Not really. I fucking hate him. Okay, let's see. Minecraft Monster says, Jeremy, what temperature should steaks be cooked? Well, I mean, I think the popular answer is probably like medium, but I am a medium well type of guy. Medium well to well done. That's how I like my steaks cooked. Cole Hauser says, because of Russia's inability of being bogged down in Ukraine, reason why Syria fell, and now Iran, Trump changed the narrative in less than 6 months. So there we go. Let's see. Tara in the Black says, isn't Night of Champions this weekend in Saudi Arabia? Is it this weekend or next? I know there was a lot of speculation on if they should cancel it or whatever. A lot of people were putting pressure on that. So I'm not entirely sure when. It's either this weekend or next, though. Maddening says, my dad, the Navy 06, is indifferent, not worried. Mo Zamboni says, Jeremy, I see you took my advice about theatricality a bit literally. I love it. I love it. Well, you know me, I'm always going to quote The Dark Knight Rises. I unapologetically love The Dark Knight Rises. I know it has problems. Okay. I know it has problems that the other Nolan Batman movies don't have, but I love The Dark Knight Rises unapologetically about it. And I could quote it forever. It's one of the most quotable movies of all time. Jim P says on Tossi TV reports IDF has opened large political prison in Iran. Also, King Reza will join or will return. Also, deflectors of military to join Iran rebels. Ronald Lake says check out Tossi TV for Inside Iran. I'm not familiar with them, so I'll have to look into that though. Taker says Iran so far away. Let's see. All right, what are they saying over here, these clowns?
At the administration, they did not want to have to go down this route, but the reality remains that for decades, this is a nation state that has been behaving badly, that has been threatening America and its adversaries, not only in the Middle East, but around the world. This is also a regime that has been sponsoring terrorist proxies for decades across the Middle East, that launched its nuclear weapons program way back in the 1950s, really only started to ramp it up in a major way during the 80s and 90s after the Shah was overthrown. There is a long and sort of grisly history behind what we are seeing today with the Iranian strikes, the U.S. strikes inside Iran over the weekend, and now today Iran retaliating pretty much against the United States at a military base in Qatar. It was really President Bush, the second, W. Bush, who named the axis of evil and identified Iran and its allies around the world. But today, those relationships with China, with Russia, with North Korea are not what they once were. A lot of them are frayed in various ways. We also have the reality that the economy of the national economy in Iran is the weakest it has probably ever been. That goes hand in hand with the assessment that our military officials have made here in recent days, that the regime is the weakest it has ever been in history. I was talking to one national security source last night who explained to me.
Okay, so they're boring. Fox News is boring. Dr. Pavel, I'm CIA. Bain posting some of the best memes you'll ever find. You could just look that up. Just look up Bain posting. It's fantastic. It really is. Okay, let me see here. Yeah, so one of the main reports right now is that President Trump does not seek more military involvement with the Middle East. And this is playing out exactly like the 2020 situation has played out currently. And hopefully it remains like that. Hopefully this remains like that. You see, I want to show you guys that clip from because I know more people are watching now. Let me find that clip again. I don't think I bookmarked it. Right here. Okay, so this right here, is that it? No. This one right here. Okay, yeah, this clip again. So right here. So you know Matt Gaetz, who had a very big video that went viral the other day, and I quote tweeted it, said I thought there was a lot of good things in it too. But Matt Gaetz called Trump to get his true take on Iran. Trump's private thinking needs to be heard. And this, I believe, was done right before today's events, which today's events line up perfectly with what we're hearing right now.
How have those conversations gone with the president? And can you give us like a 30,000 foot like sort of perspective on this?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really do readouts on that stuff, but what I could tell you is he is upbeat. He's very focused. He's very dialed in on this, and he is taking a lot of advice and input, and I think he's the best guy to synthesize it. The most important thing for your viewers, and I think for his administration, is he wants to make this a repeat of the Soleimani strike, not a repeat of the Iraq War. That is the central thing that comes out of our discussion, and we need the policies to be able to provide him that decision-making space.
So if you look at how things are playing out right now, looks to be pretty good. But like I said, if you're following, let's see this. Hang on. So this was 4 minutes ago. Tucker Carlson, who's been at the center of a lot of controversy from the pro-MAGA side, which I've said I think Tucker Carlson's criticisms has been very, very valid. And I like Tucker Carlson. So right here, this is Iran launches missile attack on U.S. base in Qatar, and they are reacting to it. So this is a live reaction from Tucker and Clayton Morris.
We have some breaking news.
What now?
Well, this is just sad on every level. This is the Telegraph. Look, I don't know if this is true or not. Explosions have been heard over Doha, Qatar, after Iran launched a missile attack on the U.S. base there. Western officials told Axios that Iran had fired 6 missiles toward at least one U.S. base in that Gulf country. That base exists to protect Israel, by the way. I know Barry Weiss is constantly attacking Qatar. Qatar has done more to defend Israel. But anyway, hosting this base, which they don't need at all. It's the richest country in the world. They don't need to do it. They're doing it to be nice. But anyway, sorry. It's just, this is so distressing.
Have Americans been killed?
Officials said earlier that the base located just outside Doha was facing.
It is easy to kind of say Tucker's completely milking and overreacting, but this is not, when I first heard the news too, I was like, oh God, here we go. I can't believe this is happening. Now that we know that there was all posturing from Iran, it's a little bit easier to look back on this and think that. But in the moment, I looked at it and go, oh shit, this is bad. This is bad. So I'm not going to hold him accountable for, reacting how I reacted and how most people reacted in the moment.
Facing a credible threat. Trump officials are convening in D.C. The base is home to CENTCOM's HQ. British military personnel also serve their own rotation. Many planes have been moved out recently, satellite imagery shows. So that's all we know. It's so distressing. It's so
Who could have seen this coming?
I know.
Who could have seen it coming?
Well, I just want to say it should go without saying, but I mean, I'm praying for the success of, whatever America does, because I'm praying for America, but I'm concerned, and I hope that people who have audiences will be responsible and just remember, like, life is short. You're going to have to give an account. Like, try to be honest, try to be humane, try to care about other people. I don't know. So that's my view.
So there you go. So I just saw this clip right here. CNN quoting White House officials. The president has made it clear to his team that he does not want further U.S. military action in the region at this point. Here we go.
What's been going on in the White House and
there's Allison right here. Shout out to Allison Cooper.
What are you hearing?
Yeah, Anderson, I mean, when I just caught up with some White House officials, and one of them was telling me that essentially they had been expecting this. They knew that Iran was going to retaliate. One of them actually argued that they had a similar response, the Iranians, after the killing of Iranian commander Qasem Soleimani back in 2020. They say what they've seen so far from these initial assessments, it looks like a similar type of retaliation. And essentially, they argued as well that their initial assessments, again, we know that the president is currently in the West Wing meeting with his national security team, but their initial assessments is that these missiles did not hit their intended targets, kind of echoing now what we have heard from the Qataris. And one thing I want to make clear as well, and this came up again in my conversations after we've seen this response from the Iranians, is that the president has made clear to his team here at the White House that he does not want further U.S. military action in the region as of this point. Of course, this could all be changing now as we're seeing this response, this retaliation from the Iranians. But prior to this attack, his posture was that he does not want to have more U.S. intervention in the Middle East. Again, we'll see if that changes now that we've seen this. But they argued that depending on how this goes and seeing as of now that they do not believe that the Iranian missiles had hit their targets, they believe he may maintain that posture. I will say, though, they of course said that the president is reserving the right to escalate U.S. military involvement if necessary, but that's his current posture at the moment, Anderson.
Okay, so that was something I reported earlier. And by the way, I like to listen to my chat. And chat, you're always, you always want me to show the weather ladies. And I appreciate my chat. And you guys want to see a weather lady. So I'm going to show you a weather lady right here. NBC's weather lady.
Hello, everybody. I am Chartreuse Money, and today, as current temperatures right here, Saturday, it's 2:40 p.m., honey. It is 80 degrees here in Portland right now, honey, and we are feeling the effects. The sun is out. All it took was a pride parade to bring the sunshine out today, but honey, it is hot all over the state. We got 78 degrees.
All right, I will move away from that. Oh man. I saw a few people are like, oh, what's gonna happen here? And then you're like, no. Oh, that was funny. That was funny. It's not my fault. I was just trying to show you guys. So, all right. Let's hear what they have to say real quick. The chat's moving so fast I can't even see it.
John, I would also be looking at signals intelligence and human intelligence, but based on a combination of factors and knowing what those weapons were designed to do, I would have some level of confidence that they destroyed exactly what they were sent to do.
So you think this is offline?
I think there's a good chance the president's going to hear a lot more from his team about this in Natanz shortly. But I think there's a good chance, based on just what I see here, that they did the damage that they were designed to do.
All right. Speaking of Natanz, this is Natanz before. You can't really make out a whole lot of detail, but this is Natanz afterwards. And there's another one of those big holes. They dropped 2 on Natanz, I believe.
They did. And you think about the 2 components to the Iranian nuclear program, which is destroy the ability of the advanced centrifuges to enrich the uranium. And then in the next target set that you're going to show in Isfahan, you destroy the storage of that enriched uranium. And now
I saw Gary in the chat. What's up, Gary? We've got Hayden Wayne for 20 says, I really hope this all turns I really hope this is all it turns into. If we get a repeat of 2020, I'm fine with it. My position the entire time was to watch out for retaliation. Having open borders for 4 years puts us in a dangerous spot. I hope it's done. You and me both. And I generally do kind of agree with that's where we're going. So I do think that we're in a good spot. Again, it's all about not reacting to every person on Twitter that is freaking out and telling you that the world is ending, and that we're in World War III, yada, yada, yada. Right now, this appears to be the same path as 2020, and I don't recall anyone freaking. Well, I guess they did freak out for like about 3 days then, but now this is the first time you've actually had Twitter under the leadership of Elon Musk where something's happened like this. And so you have a lot of people that have a big following from the MAGA side, and then they're jumping on this nonsensical stuff. So we'll see. But right now, I trust Trump. I wasn't happy with the strikes because I didn't think that it was going to lead to anything good for us. But I said throughout all of it that even though I'm not happy with it, I'm hoping that it all works out. And ultimately, he has information that I don't have. I'm just a retard with a microphone, so I don't know anything. Who the fuck cares what I think? And here we are a few days later, and a lot of fake news is out there, and a lot of people that are trying to spin narratives. But ultimately, it looks like the Trump administration is in pretty good control. And if you actually listen to what Marco Rubio said yesterday, if you actually listen to what Pete Hegseth said yesterday, if you actually listen to JD Vance, then you would hear this and go, man, these guys kind of know what they're doing. They kind of know what they're doing. And so that's kind of where I've been with the whole situation right now. Why is my Twitter inbox just completely broken? Because somebody sent me a clip the other day of Marco Rubio, and I can't even get my Twitter inbox to open. So I guess they have this new thing called X Chat or something, and I haven't really tried that one yet. So yeah, Twitter inbox is just completely broken. So is Twitter down? No, it's not. Okay. Okay, it's not down. What's the update right here?
Air base in Qatar. It's not clear whether the Qataris also use their own air defense systems that might have helped with the interceptions. But we do know that the U.S. has THAAD missile defense systems as well as Patriot missile defense that are normally manned by about 100 U.S. soldiers, each of those. So they were very effective tonight in protecting Al Udeid. There are no reports of any American casualties or deaths as a result of these missiles. None of them landed at the base, so no damage to report, but very dramatic video, as you just showed us over the skies of Qatar just now. It seems as though this initial strike on Qatar and the Al Udeid base is over for now. It's not clear whether Iran will strike again in a second wave, but this wave is over for now, we're told. What we also can report is that U.S. defense officials have not seen, the Pentagon has not seen any attacks by Iran on any other U.S. bases across the Middle East, despite the high alert warnings, the air defense sirens that have gone off from Iraq to Kuwait to Bahrain and UAE. The airspace has been closed over Bahrain, UAE, and other countries protectively to commercial traffic.
She says more than I do. Annie Lennox not looking good these days. She says more than me. That's bad. You're supposed to be a professional.
Members or American citizens are killed. I think all sides in this, whether it's Iran, the United States, or Israel, will soon be looking for a way out so that this does not escalate further. None of the players involved want this to escalate further. We've heard that from the White House. We've heard that from the president. The president was very clear that this mission this weekend was to take out Iran's nuclear sites, those 3 sites that were very important to Iran's nuclear program. So far, the bomb damage assessment, while not complete, indicates that there was significant damage.
It's getting better now. I haven't heard one in a few minutes.
At those 3 sites. The president has said so repeatedly in Truth Social posts. The Pentagon is looking now to be able to confirm all of that. But right now, we can say with authority that there were no other strikes on U.S. Bases across the Middle East, just the 6 missiles, ballistic missiles fired from Iran in response to this weekend's U.S. strikes, and they were all intercepted by U.S. air defense over Qatar this evening.
Jennifer, we were talking about this idea that Iran increased.
She said she's been saying Qatar the whole time, and then she just said Qatar. Why can't people figure out how to say this word? It's either she's been saying Qatar the whole time, and now she says Qatar.
Flagrant violation of international law and the principles of good neighborliness, and an entirely unacceptable act that cannot be justified under any circumstances. We heard something similar from the Qataris. Bahrain certainly is probably of the same mind. I would think Kuwait is as well. The Emirates haven't weighed in yet.
Somebody says she read my
chat. They don't have any particular fondness for Iran. I mean, this almost seems to be like the last wheeze.
Somebody said, hang on. Do I hate your commentary? Hang on. Do you hate my commentary, Jeremy? No. I didn't know what direction. I didn't really know what to say, but no, I love it. It's the best. It's the best commentary. Nobody's ever heard commentary like it. It's the best commentary.
Basically target Israel and to target Americans over the years, really for the last 40 plus years. So those proxies have pretty well been taken out by a combination of Israeli strikes as
U.S. officials confirmed 0 Iranian missiles hit the U.S. base in Qatar, Qatari, Q3PO, C3PO, Dorito, bag of cookies, whatever they want to call it. Right here. Panicans thought Trump wanted boots on the ground after he did this during the Republican debate. This is a great moment right here.
On Monday, George W. Bush will campaign in South Carolina for his brother. As you said tonight, and you've often said, the Iraq War and your opposition to it was a sign of your good judgment. In 2008, in an interview with Wolf Blitzer,
sign of my good judgment.
George W. Bush's conduct for the war, you said you were surprised the Democratic Leader Nancy Pelosi didn't try to impeach him. You said, quote, which personally I think would have been a wonderful thing. Close quote. When you were asked,
Trump saying it's a sign of my good judgment is the most Trump thing ever. It's a sign of my good judgment.
what you meant by that, you said for the war. For the war. He lied. He got us into the war with lies. Do you still believe President Bush should have been impeached?
First of all, I have to say, as a businessman, I get along with everybody. I have business all over the world. I know so many of the people in the audience. And by the way, I'm a self-funder. I have my wife and I have my son. That's all I have. I don't have this. So let me just tell you, I get along with everybody, which is my obligation to my company, to myself, etc. Obviously, the war in Iraq was a big, fat mistake, all right? Now, you can take it any way you want, and it took Jeb Bush, if you remember at the beginning of his announcement, when he announced for president, took him 5 days. He went back. It was a mistake. It wasn't a mistake. Took him 5 days before his people told him what to say, and he ultimately said it was a mistake. The war in Iraq, we spent $2 trillion, thousands of lives. We don't even have it. Iran is taking over Iraq with the second largest oil reserves in the world. Obviously, it was a mistake. So George Bush made a mistake. We can make mistakes, but that one was a beauty. We should have never been in Iraq. We have destabilized the Middle East.
But so you still think he should be impeached?
I think it's my turn, isn't it?
You do whatever you want. You call it whatever you want. I want to tell you, they lied.
Okay.
They said there were weapons of mass destruction. There were none, and they knew there were none. There were no weapons of mass destruction.
All right. Governor, when a member on the stage.
I love that they were booing him, and all it did is made him more popular.
His brother gets attacked.
I got
brother
about
gets
5
to
or 6.
respond.
Do I get to do it 5 or 6 times, or just once
nice.
responding to that? So here's the deal. I'm sick and tired of Barack Obama blaming my brother for all of the problems that he's had. And frankly,
I said this the last time I played this clip, but like Jeb Bush in these debates totally reminded me of Mick Foley getting cheap pops. My wrestling fans will know how Mick Foley used to go to every arena, and he would name the town he's in just so he get the cheap pops. It was part of his gimmick, and that's exactly what Jeb Bush was doing, just getting cheap pops.
I could care less about the insults that Donald Trump gives to me. It's blood sport for him. He enjoys it, and I'm glad he's happy about it. But I am sick and tired of him going after my family. My dad is the greatest man alive in my mind. While Donald Trump was building a reality TV.
Trump was so mad when he said that. Look at Trump's face when he said that. He was so mad.
While Donald Trump was building a reality TV show, my brother was building a security apparatus to keep us safe, and I'm proud of what he did. And he's had the gall to go after
The World
my
Trade
mother.
Center came
He's
down
had the
during
gall
your
to go
brother's
after
reign.
my mother.
Remember that.
Hold on.
Let me finish. He's had the gall to go after my mother.
That's not keeping
Look, I
us
won
safe.
the lottery when I was born 63 years ago and looked up and I saw my mom. My mom is the strongest woman I know.
She should
This
be
is
running.
not about my family or his family.
Okay.
This is about the South Carolina family.
Okay, like I love how Trump says she should be running. So his dad is the greatest dad of all time. His mom is the greatest woman he's ever known, and he's so tired of Barack Obama blaming his wonderful brother for all of his problems. Like, pathetic, dude, pathetic. But I do have to show this because I've been talking about a lot of this this Twitter stuff going on and a lot of these people. This account, Texas Patriot, Texas born, reportedly was exposed as a fake account from Pakistan, posing as a former Trump supporter. He had about 100,000 followers, and he got exposed a couple of days ago. People were saying that you're from Pakistan and you're pushing an anti-Trump narrative. And once he got exposed, he deleted his account completely. But this is after he claimed that he was, now I live in Georgia now. I live in Georgia. These guys, I'm living rent free in their head. And he was making all types of jokes, and then he nuked his entire account. So he was 100% like going full anti-Trump and all this stuff. But this is after pretending he was a Trump supporter. And he was pushing a real kind of like anti-Trump narrative the past several weeks. And so I saw people talking about it. They're like, wait, he's from Pakistan? Has he been exposed? And so now, there it is. Now, again, I don't know if that confirms that this person was from Pakistan or not, but it is very interesting that all I saw, and I never followed this account, by the way. I just saw this account in my timeline. People were responding to him a lot. And I saw him basically, once people were accusing him of being from Pakistan, he was basically poking the bear and being very sarcastic about how that's not true and they're spreading lies, and he was making jokes about it. And then next thing I know, I guess the heat got so much that he nuked his account. So I don't know. So that's the latest. So again, I'm not saying it confirmed that he was from Pakistan or not, but this is just kind of this has been a thing on Twitter lately with a lot of people just posting a lot of crazy shit. Just in, the Pentagon has released footage showing the B-2 stealth bombers before and after executing Operation Midnight Hammer in Iran. Let's check this out. That's loud. That's loud. Got it too. I'm going to keep the volume low. This is pretty. It is a hell of a job that they did, man. In and out, undetected, just boom. It was so badass, dude. The U.S. military is the most awesome military, and it's not even close. And that's one thing that's been lost in all of this is a lot of the back and forth on Twitter, and people just not being like appreciative of our awesome military. The reason that we are safe, the reason that we can live free the way that we do is because we have the best military in the world, and nobody is even close. And now we have a guy who supports our military in the White House. So there we go. That is just badass. And then I saw I guess there was, and I haven't gotten confirmation of this, but I saw one of the mainstream outlets was upset because Pete Hegseth says our boys are back home or something like that. And they were upset at the gender specific way that he said that. Just absolutely ridiculous. So, and I don't even know, who cares? To be fair, I don't know if there was a woman involved. I would rather not, but who cares, So that is awesome right there, though. That is awesome. So, what happened to the taco meme? That is true. What happened to the taco meme? Put the Top Gun music over it? Yes, absolutely. But it looks like a giant bat. Did you see? Let's see. A woman made the sandwich for the pilots. Yeah, I hope we get reports of that. They're like, we had. I hope Pete Hegseth responds and he's like, I saw reports that the media was really upset about the lack of female involvement. He goes, I would like to confirm that women definitely were involved. They made all of the sandwiches. So they were a vital part of this operation. They made all the sandwiches. And right here from Charlie Kirk, 0 casualties. 0 Iranian missiles hit U.S. bases. 0 need for the U.S. to retaliate as of now. A large international and regional coalition mobilized to shoot down Israeli missiles. This is clearly an extremely positive outcome for America and President Trump. Take the dub and off-ramp to de-escalation. Pray for peace. So as it currently stands right now, all things are looking very positive for the situation with Iran and what is going on. It does look like this is playing out much like the 2020 situation with Iran right now. There is a lot of panicans on social media that are losing their minds, but right now, things are okay for now. Now, Iran is going to continue to talk because this is what Iran does, but it looks to be a lot of posturing from their perspective. So we'll see. We shall see. Let's see. Let me go back over to fake news, Fox News, see what fake news is saying.
That Iran really isn't going to go to the mat on this.
Yeah, that's exactly it. The dissonance, the difference between words and deeds here, I think, is what markets are looking at. And they're saying, Iran, what Iran's doing is they're telling us we're not responding to escalate, we're responding to capitulate. And when that happens, then traders start to trade differently. They take that risk premium out of oil. They're buying into U.S. stocks right now. So it's an extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary turn of events. And Iran and other actors in the Middle East, I think, are all sending the same signal, which is this whole conflict has taken a totally decisive and probably irrevocable turn, and the game has changed. And it's changed in a very short period of time. And I would argue it's changed on the basis of some very big moves by the United States and the recognition by our adversaries that they simply cannot match what we're capable of doing.
Just noting when President Trump took office, January 2025, oil was just about $78 a barrel.
Yes.
You're looking at 68 and change, to your point, Brian, almost down $10 now since where we started the year. You would think at any other moment in history, when you have this sort of geopolitical conflict happening, that those oil prices would be,
any other moment. I think this is totally unprecedented, frankly, and it's the strongest number you could ever find to tell you things have changed in this conflict we've been talking about now for several weeks.
All right, Brian, thanks so much for jumping on with us.
All right.
Really is a little bit of a head scratcher there for sure. Thanks, Brian. All right, let's go back to Jennifer Griffin with the latest from the Pentagon. Jen, you got some new information?
Well, John, just to follow up on something that Brian was reporting, U.S. military sources have told me that when military planners look at the likely response by Iran to any sort of U.S. military strike on Iran, and this is something they've been planning for years, they have long believed that if the Iranian regime took the decision to have the IRGC mine the Strait of Hormuz, that would be one of the last things they did if they felt that the regime was in danger of collapsing. That is not something they want to do on the escalation ladder. What we saw tonight in terms of the response with 6 ballistic missiles being fired at the U.S. base in Qatar, that is much lower on the escalation ladder, knowing that there are air defense systems in place that could intercept them. To mine the Strait of Hormuz or disrupt global shipping and the strait in terms of the flow of oil, that would be, I'm told by U.S. military sources, one of the last things that the Iran regime would do if they felt that their regime were threatened with collapse.
Jen, just looking at all the latest coming in, does it surprise you that we still haven't heard anything formally from the White House or anything to emerge from the Situation Room, where we know that meeting was happening earlier? We do not know at this point if it's still ongoing.
I don't think it's surprising at all. In fact, I think it's wise right now. They're in the Situation Room. They're watching the latest developments in the Middle East in real time. They're protecting the U.S. military is in a protective stance, a defensive stance, something they knew they would have to be in following Saturday's strikes. And they will be getting the latest intelligence. They will be undoubtedly reaching out to allies in the region to get, particularly since we've learned that Steve Witkoff, the president's emissary, has been in constant touch with his sources, not only in Qatar, but also possibly the Iranian officials.
Okay, so not a whole lot of not a whole lot of an update there. So I wonder if we will hear from President Trump or anyone in the administration about all of this. You still have Iran. You still have Iran saying that they will continue its retaliation in response to the U.S. attacks on its nuclear facilities. A senior Iranian official says. That is from Reuters. I don't even know if that's like, you know, this is just a joke. I like this. They're going to call before and ask permission again. So Iran is still continuing to talk big because they need to do that. So it very much feels like, is this it right here? Oh, okay. We have new video, unconfirmed, but I think we have new video of Iran sending rockets in defense against the United States. Breaking news. You're not going to see this anywhere else but CobraCast. We have video of Iran targeting the United States. Here we go. Holy shit. Whoa. Woo. Boys, we are in trouble. We are in trouble. Holy crap. Now that is a real video. That is 100% a real video.
Secretary General strongly condemns any escalation in this conflict, as he has done since the beginning. The fighting must stop. That's a direct quote.
So the price of oil has completely dropped. The price of oil has tanked today as Iran's impotent response to America's attacks has demonstrated they don't have the ability to escalate conflict. So essentially, because of their failed attempt, it basically shows that they don't have the ability to do anything. So their only thing that they can do is kind of like do a fake posture for their own people and continue to send threats out through the media. So they don't have the ability to actually do anything. So the price of oil has tanked now after all the panicking said that the price of oil was going to skyrocket. So yeah, all in all, this is turning out to be a pretty damn good day so far. So far, so good. So far, so good. Let me see here. Oh, God. You know what? I retract my previous statement. Everything is stupid again. Beavis and Butthead are going to be featured characters in Call of Duty Season 4 Reloaded. I used to love watching Beavis and Butthead. This is not Call of Duty. Fuck. Why does Call of Duty want to be Fortnite? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Call of Duty is so pathetic these days, man. That is laughable. Absolutely laughable. God, such a disaster. Let's see. I did want to show. So I know we've got people tuning in. So let me go back and show you the latest update, which I think is the best update that I can give you right now. So earlier today, it was reported, and you see it from the headline here, that Iran fired 6 missiles towards U.S. bases. It has now been all but confirmed. I say all but confirmed because we still have not heard directly from the administration, but it's been all but confirmed that this was all theatrics for Iran, just like it was in 2020, where they needed to show that they were going to respond, but they talked to the United States in advance and told the United States of this so that they could be prepared. So the reports are that there were no U.S. casualties. 0 Iranian missiles hit U.S. bases. There is zero need for the U.S. to retaliate as of now. A large international and regional coalition mobilized to shoot down Iranian missiles. This is clearly an extremely positive outcome for America and President Trump. And this could be the first sign of true de-escalation, even though Iran is still continuing to release statements saying that they're going to do this, that, or the other. But now we have reports that oil is down 7.5%. So the price of oil is lower than when President Trump took office. Given everything that's taken place the last few weeks, this is a remarkable fact. So everything is going well. Now, one thing that, the people that got the NPC download and they were calling, Trump, George W. Bush. Do you remember what gas prices were at the height of the Bush warmongering? Do you remember that? Dude, I remember it. It was unbelievable how bad gas prices were. It was insane. It was crazy, especially on the left coast. On the left coast, it was even worse. Like, it was so bad. It was, I remember it being like over 5 in some parts. It was insane. Luke Rakowski is still freaking out like a woman on her period. Well, like I said, Luke has always been anti-Trump. So that should surprise like no one. Luke has always been an anti-Trump person, so he's going to continue to be anti-Trump. So let me see here. Copy. Open this up. Images. Okay. All right. So back to this. So I just saw this video. A heat wave causes the road to buckle, sending a car airborne. Wow. I have so many questions. Why is a camera right there? Why is a camera right there at that moment in time to film that moment? Ooh. Is it AI? I don't think it's AI. I don't know. AccuWeather posted it. So that doesn't mean anything, but you can't believe anything on the internet these days. You can't believe anything. So, but I did see Breaking 911 had posted it. It's pretty wild, man. It's pretty wild. Okay, let me see where this is at. Is that okay? Iran is running out of buttons to push after U.S. airstrikes. They don't have an unlimited supply of missiles, and both the Israelis and Americans know that. Their proxy ability has been decimated, Fox News reports. So this is all falling apart pretty quickly. The threat of Iran having any legitimate response to the United States is, pretty much gone. Now, I think the big question would be, what is Israel's involvement? And if Israel's involved, how much are we going to be involved? And I think those are valid questions that a lot of people have. And I'm okay with people asking those questions. So I guess time will tell. Let me catch up on these super chats. Steve from PA says, can you let your new viewers know how Solo did at the box office? Thank you for your attention to this matter. Solo lost money Raylos are weird. Fuck Naughty Dog, and we will talk to you later. There you go. Thank you, Steve. Cole Hauser says, Iran, only non-U.S. country to get F-14s. Thank God never got them completely operational with the Phoenix missile system. Would have changed the region. Thank you, Cole Hauser. Mitchell Field says, I'm an Air Force vet and was talking to a Marine father with a son in the Air Force, and he said it best. 6 missiles. Really, Iran? Rookie numbers do better. Rye the Guy says, it honestly looks like the last desperate effort by Iran to look tough, but in reality, it's over for them. None of their friends had their back, and they are running out of missiles. Yeah, I agree with that assessment right there. I agree with that assessment. Coragen says, this grifter never reads my super chats. Look at there, Coragen. Dr. Kaladin says, it burns us, it freezes, and it burns us. Phil McCracken says, why did you show us Beardo at his other job? The Girthquake says, give us Sydney Sweeney for a palate cleanser. Hey, I broke the rule of proper 199 the other day. I can't do it today. Even Audimus Prime over on Rumble says, I demand Sydney Sweeney for your repentance. Johnny the Whiz Kid says, I have a separate concern. A radical Muslim communist is running for mayor in New York City, and he's leading ahead of Cuomo. Loomer is warning us about him winning over the city, or the city is screwed. Can you cover that story? I did see that story. I'll look into it. Stephen Strange, I think I got that one. We got True Mr. Gentleman says, Jeremy, I had this wild fever dream 2 weeks ago. I dreamt you were in nationwide riots and you were live in every city that week. However, surely an event like that would have lasting political consequences and having a lasting impact on our collective memory. It's weird because it felt so real. Also, my favorite finisher is the Diamond Qatar. Better than Randy Knockout. Yeah, it's crazy. I had a weird dream that I was covering these riots nationwide. And I was covering these riots nationwide, and I felt like, man, this is going to have a long-term effect. And yet, seems like everybody forgot it. So it must have been a dream. I agree with you, True Mr. Gentleman. It must have been a dream. Let's see. Pepsitile says, I just finished Breaking Bad. I see your fondness for the show and all of that Fern Green Pontiac Aztec. That you want to own one so badly. Keep up the good work, Jeremy. Hail the 199 and Aztec. So I'm glad you finished Breaking Bad. Truly one of the greatest series of all time. Love that show. And Better Call Saul is, if you just finished Breaking Bad, I recommend watching Better Call Saul now. Go back and watch Better Call Saul. It's great. Don't waste your time with El Camino, though. Matt Frog says, Pete talked Trump out of dropping Chris Christie. Too many casualties. Warbringer says, Jeremy, hear me out. I could make the magic happen. Mitchell Field says, while deployed in war, we can drink, have a shot for us to show your support. 2 common military shots are 3 wise men and 4 horsemen. Cheers. Thank you, Mitchell Fields, and thank you for your service, sir. BMC CB says, I did 8 months in Qatar. Their own radio stations say it 3 different ways. Exactly, man. So, so if it's spelled Qatar, then I'll say Qatar. But they spell it Qatar, so I'll say Qatar. Thank you, brother. Demi Morse Tapeworm says, is it just me and you, Jeremy? I never remember the media saying Qatar or Qatar. What the fuck is this Mandela effect? God, how come I can't be rich in this reality? Maybe the next time around. Hail the 199. Hail. Steel Leg of History says, I can never thank you enough for your kindness and support. I'm 8 subs from 700. Let's fucking go. I bought the pass to Busch Gardens that lets me take my folks there since my cousin is visiting. DM you about it. Hey, man, I hope you have a great time, man. And congratulations on the success of your channel. And appreciate you, brother. Amenti says, everyone wants to be a gangster until the Doom Dorito flies and the skies over the head is missing a few pixels. What's up, Amenti? Guava Ball says, you can appreciate our military and condemn using them for another country's agenda while risking everything we fought for at home. Following Bush's policies has never been MAGA. Wake up, neocons. Chaser on the interweb says U.S. rocking mid-70s aerial technology in 2025. Hail the 199. Hail the U.S. military. Dragon says, hey, Cobra, I wanted to say this for a long time. I want gas prices to return to form to 99 cents. Lol. Hey, yeah, I think you're not going to find much disagreement on that one. I think everybody is going to agree with you. We all wish that gas prices could go back to that. Don't think that's ever going to happen, unfortunately, though. Okay. Southeastern Kaiju says, how many times can they tell us nothing hit? Eric K says, this was Trump's cleaning up Hillary's, Obama, and Biden's mess. He used Israel to take out their air power and missiles. Even Arab countries hate Iran government. If you listen to what Pete Hegseth had to say, that's a very accurate assessment. And again, this is why listening and getting all the information is crucial. But it does look like this thing was a lot better planned out than maybe we initially believed. That's why being a panicking is not the best course of action. Aaron James says, make things right. A better weather report, please. Steel Leg says, if any of you ever want to go to Busch Gardens here in VA, I will be available. Take you for free for a day. Be blessed. Look at there. Such a nice guy. That's awesome. Mitchell Field says, my favorite World War II quote is war is chaos and hell, and the Americans thrive in it. Cole Haller says, war is God's way of teaching us geography. Zach Attack says, Candace Owens is exhibiting panic-in energy. Phil McCracken with the new member message. Becomes a new member. Thank you. The Singing Tigs says, Road Buckle video was 30 minutes from me. It's hot AF. Taker says, POTUS, the only acceptable Ayatollah in Iran is the Ayatollah of rock and rolla. Advisors, sir. That was a movie. POTUS. Chris Jericho was a movie. Babo Yogi says, mods make the show. You suck. Just ask Beardo. Mods lives matter. Look at there. Horror Amarada says, for once you're reading something right. Everything I'm seeing says Qatar is wrong. I am basically the smartest, dumbest person on the internet. So I swear this guy has been trashing me for months. D-Day Cobra Jeremy is Trump's ball washer. Yeah, I feel like you've been criticizing me for it feels like maybe even a year. And if that's the case, that makes me fucking happy because it shows me that you have found nothing better to do with your life than to hate me. And I find so much satisfaction out of that. So dude, you've been how do you seriously, YouTube is such a massive platform and there's so many people that are better at doing this than me, but you spend years watching me, hating me. It's weird. I don't understand it. I appreciate it. I just don't understand it. Elite Neo says there's plenty of examples of things being pronounced differently and how they're spelled. I see Jeremy and being pronounced fig all the time. What's up, Elite Neo? Swig of water for the working man. Diane becomes a new member. Thank you, Diane. Appreciate that. Let's see what the latest update is right now. Let's see what's going on. No. There's no way. Breaking: Diddy defense may invoke Iran conflict in closing argument, reported by TMZ. And as this top comment says, this timeline is wild. What? The Diddy defense is going to bring the Iran conflict into this? What are we doing, dude? What are we doing? Oh my goodness. Let's see. What is this? I don't know what I'm about to watch. And this could be bad for YouTube. Okay? Whoa! I don't even know what just happened there. Is that in New York? That was crazy. I was not sure how that was going to end. So there's a lot of questions I have. So is the person that's trying to stop it, is it his car? He's on the phone. So is he on the phone saying that my car is being stolen? Or is he stopping the guy for his, I don't know what else? You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of questions I have right now. Yeah, I'm very confused by that one. I need more information on that one. And I'm going to try to get more information on that one. So let's see here. Let's go back over here. Let's see if we have any. Let me fast forward to the live section and see what they're saying right now. Which, are they still trying to act like this is some massive deal?
The safety of the world is easing up. And you're seeing that reflected in the oil markets, which is remarkable given the region that we're talking about here. Commander, thank you very much. Kirk Leopold, very good to have you here today, sir.
Thank you, Martha. And that's how the world works when deterrence is properly exercised.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. We'll see you soon. Hope you'll come back soon. So now joining me is retired Navy Captain Brett Sadler. He is Senior Research Fellow for Naval Warfare and Advanced Technology at the Heritage Foundation's Allison Center for National Security, served in various roles at the Pentagon during the Obama administration and the first Trump administration. Very good to have you here today, sir. Your reaction to what we have seen over the past couple of hours playing out in Qatar?
Yeah, it's pretty clear that the Iranians have decided to choose continued confrontation rather than taking the off-ramp that was offered by President Trump to enter into a negotiated into this, and top of the list, walking away from ever having a nuclear weapons program, which
I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, again, if you go back to 2020, this is the same type of response that they had before. This does seem like this is them accepting defeat while saving face to their own people. That's what it seems like.
is something the regime there in Tehran has put at the top of their priority for many, many years.
Well, it seems to me that pride is a major issue here for the regime right now. They've obviously taken a huge blow. The only things that they could hang their hat on was that they had a nuclear program. It seems to be decimated at this point, although we're still waiting for sort of the final reflection on exactly how it all played out. But, you do see that the Russians are meeting with the Iranian foreign minister. How does that come into this for all of you?
Well, it's a good point. The visit yesterday to Moscow by Iran's foreign minister kind of proves that even though the bombs are still dropping, they can continue to reach out and visit with their trusted friends and allies abroad. What actually, if anything, comes out of that meeting is still left to be seen. I would give very slim odds that the Russians are going to offer much that's going to change the reality that the Iranian regime is kind of painting themselves into. And that is the unraveling of their own regime because of mistake after mistake and miscalculation that Tehran is making. But again, the ball is in their court. They've chosen conflict instead of a resolution.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how long they can convince the Iranian people that this emperor has clothes still at this point. How good are they at this stage of the game of controlling the message? We know that they were only showing their missile launchers and not what happened.
I see Hunter in the chat says, Lamau, Jeremy is making money off this. Yeah, I make money off of theme parks. I make money off video games. I make money off of politics. I make money off of woke Hollywood. And I'm probably going to make money off of your comment as well. So, yeah, welcome to capitalism, motherfucker. And I make money off t-shirts. And Linko Kenobi sent me a picture of the Uncle IDOT t-shirt that you can get in our Teespring store right now. So if you choose to go to our Teespring store, you can help me make more money with this awesome shirt. And this is the actual shirt, which it looks pretty damn good. Mods are going to be dropping links to our Teespring store, which is right there, Lady Erin D. Thank you so much. So how did you like that for a segue? How did you like that one for a segue? If you're unapologetic and you don't give a fuck, you can grift the hell out of people. It's great. But yes, there you go. The Uncle IDOT shirt is in the pinned post right there. Thank you, Linko Kenobi. Appreciate it, man. And thank you for allowing me the opportunity to grift.
To the people of Iran, one, that the regime is not able to stand up and to continue to suppress unimpeded. And that also signals to the Iranian people that what is being done right now that they can see, feel around them as the bombs are dropping is not directed at them. It's directed at this regime and the tools of that regime to control its population and to sow terrorism across the world. Also, the headquarters of the IRGC was attacked.
So
this is one of my favorite responses. So I retweeted my, everybody's a political expert now. And the Bugle Daily says, I find myself agreeing with Jeremy a lot. Pretty sure that makes me a retard. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good answer right there. You're like, oh God, I'm agreeing with Jeremy a lot. That pretty much puts me in trouble big time. So let's see. Iranian official, we are rational enough to start a diplomatic process after punishing the aggressor. Great news. Wind this down. Time for peace. So again, who knows if this is legitimate? Who knows if this is, I have no idea. Like, how do you take the Iranian, press releases? There's really no way to know. So who knows? Hang on. The overreaction is everywhere. There's so many tweets that I want to share, but I'm just holding off. Some of them, like, I certainly want to take a victory lap, but I think it's way too early to take victory laps right now on this. I think that it's more so like, I think that we are at a point where we just have to continue to take each piece of information as it comes, because we really don't know. Like, tomorrow, things could happen and be blown out of proportion again tomorrow. I don't know. What I do believe, though, is I believe that when you have guys like this right here, when you have guys like this in charge of the Department of Defense, it makes me feel a lot better.
Of almost any American if you had an opportunity to watch it in real time. And I think Tehran is certainly calculating the reality that planes flew from the middle of America in Missouri overnight, completely undetected over 3 of their most highly sensitive sites. And we were able to destroy nuclear capabilities. And our boys in those bombers are on their way home right now. We believe that'll have a clear psychological impact on how they view the future. And we certainly hope they take the path of negotiated peace. But I could not be more proud of all.
Pete Hegseth is a fucking G, bro. Like, he is a G. This dude is a phenomenal Secretary of Defense. And the way he carried himself in that press conference yesterday was awesome. He is absolutely the man. And it's good to have that guy in charge for sure. And again, when you hear him, when you hear Marco Rubio, when you hear a lot of these different takes, it does make you realize, like, okay, we're actually in pretty good shape right now. Right here, this is the clip that I was looking at. This is Rubio yesterday.
Are you saying there that the United States did not see intelligence that the Supreme Leader had ordered weaponization?
That's irrelevant. I see that question being asked in the media. That's an irrelevant question.
No,
they have
that is
everything
the
they need
key
to build a
point in
weapon.
U.S. intelligence assessments. You know
No,
that.
it's not.
Yes, it was.
No, it's
that
not.
The political
I know,
decision had not
I know
been
that better
made.
than you know that, and I know that that's not the case.
But
You don't
I'm
know-
asking
you
you
don't
whether
know
the
what you're
order
talking
was
about.
given.
I know
And the
that
people
better
who
than
say
you
that.
know it.
It doesn't matter if the order was given. They have everything they need to build nuclear weapons. Why would you bury things in a mountain, 300 feet under the ground?
Right.
Why would you bury why do they have 60% enriched uranium? You don't need 60% enriched uranium. The only countries in the world that have uranium at 60% are countries that have nuclear weapons, because they can quickly make it 90. They have all the elements. They have. Why do they have a space program? Is Iran going to go to the moon? No, they're trying to build an ICBM.
No, but
so
that's
they
a
can one day
question.
put a
That's a
warhead on
question.
it.
That's a question of intent, and you know, in the intelligence assessment that
Is Iran going to go to the moon? Holy shit. That was great.
Need 60% enriched uranium. The only countries in the world that have uranium at 60% are countries that have nuclear weapons, because they can quickly make it 90. They have all the elements. They have. Why do they have a space program? Is Iran going to go to the moon? No, they're trying to build an ICBM.
no, but
so
that's
they
a
can one day
question.
put a
That's a
warhead on
question.
it.
That's a question of intent, and you know, in the intelligence assessment that it was that Iran wanted to be a threshold
How do
state
you know
and
what the
use this
intelligence assessment
leverage.
says?
I'm
How do
talking
you know
about
what
the
the
public
intelligence assessment
March
says?
assessment, and that's why I was asking you if you know something more from
but
March.
that's also
if
an
order
inaccurate
was given.
representation of it. That's an accurate representation of it. That's not how intelligence is read. That's not how intelligence is used. Here's what the whole world knows. Forget about intelligence. What the IAEA knows. They are enriching uranium well beyond anything you need for a civil nuclear program. So why would you enrich uranium at 60%?
Right.
If you don't intend to one day use it to take it to 90 and build a weapon.
Right.
Why are you developing ICBMs? Why do you have 8,000 short-range missiles and 2,000 to 3,000 long mid-range missiles that you continue to develop? Why do you do all these things? They
Understood.
have everything they need for a nuclear weapon. They have the delivery mechanisms. They have the enrichment capability. They have the highly enriched uranium that is stored.
Yes.
That's all we need to see.
Right. Well,
This is what I'm saying. Like, when you get out of the Twitter world and you actually listen to the people that we voted for President Trump, and then President Trump brought into this administration is significantly better than the last administration that he had. And you see the job that Marco Rubio has done up to this point. When you see how Pete Hegseth handles himself, when you see how JD Vance is handling things, this is a legitimate, like, A+ team that is handling this. And these guys are actually, like, giving you valid reasoning behind the decision, and you feel much better about it.
Especially in the hands of a regime that's already involved in terrorism and proxies and all kinds of things around. They are the source of all
yes, and no one's disputing that. I'm not doing that here. And they were censured at the IAEA for that enrichment and for violating their non-proliferation agreements. I was simply asking if we had intelligence that there was an order to weaponize, because you said weaponization ambitions.
Well, we have intelligence that they have everything they need to build a nuclear weapon, and that's more than enough.
Okay. Are you saying
Rubio just continues to impress? And shockingly enough, we are at a point where a lot of people seem to think that Rubio will be a valid contender to be maybe vice president in the next run. I'm still not there, but I really do love the job that he's done as Secretary of State under President Trump. He's done a great job. And so I'm not going to take that away from him. I'm not convinced to say that I would like for him to be vice president in the next one, but he's definitely a front runner for a lot of people. So time will tell. Time will tell. What is this? Okay, that was yesterday. My timeline. Yeah, right here. That de-escalated quickly. That de-escalated very quickly. Yes, Margaret, I don't care. I also like the I don't really care, Jose. The Jose memes have been pretty great as well. Let's see, what is this? Let's go back. What is this update?
To do, and talking to some people in Washington too, is that they want to try and keep up for their own people, at least, the fight against Israel. They want to say Israel's the enemy. This is the little Satan and all of that. And we're going to keep fighting Israel, but they really want to keep away from attacking the United States and having any more damage done. You've had some very interesting interviews in the last 40 minutes or so, at half an hour or so, Martha. There's this possibility that they have been able to move some of that fissile material, some of their weapons material around even if we have managed to destroy or do significant damage to the Ferdo facility. So they're going to try and husband what they can. I think the regime is very vulnerable itself. It knows how vulnerable it is. It does not want to fight the United States. It doesn't really want to fight Israel because Israel's done enormous damage to it too. But it just wants to, as it stands, it wants to just at least say to its people, look, we're just defending ourselves against Israel here, and we're going to keep doing whatever it does to defend the regime.
You know, we heard, Jamie, President Trump say that the Iranian people have the option of regime change. And it gets tougher and tougher to imagine what the argument among the Iranian people is for keeping this regime at this point. How do you see it?
Well, the Iranian people are some of the most incredible people in the world. I have many Iranian friends. They're just, this is an incredible civilization that could do incredible.
Take your ass over there and have a vacation with your family. Go ahead, buddy. Oh, they're some of the most wonderful people in the world. And I just think that they're so great and they're so lovely. Take your ass over there with a fucking vacation. Go ahead.
They have been oppressed by this authoritarian government for 46 years, and they have tried multiple times to get rid of the government, and the government has used unbelievable force. I have friends who were held in Evin prison, which the Israelis bombed the entrance of today, and all these kinds of wonderful people are tortured and maimed and abused. So I do think that the United States, it would be great. I think everybody, not least the people in Iran, would be thrilled if the government of Iran were overthrown. But we need to be careful because the people of Iran right now don't have the means to achieve that goal, and we can't achieve it from the air alone. And my fear is that even though the Iranian government is weakened, they still have a lot of power over Iranian civilians. And already in Tehran and across Iran, we're getting reports of executions and a lot of oppression. So that's going to be a real something to watch going forward. But the people of Iran are deeply concerned, not because they support this government, but because they fear that a weakened government is going to take out its wrath on them.
You know, I wish I could remember who wrote this, but I was reading a piece the other day, Jerry, that talked about history. And you look at the Berlin Wall falling, and you look at the Iron Curtain falling, and it said, eventually every nightmare comes to an end. Is that the moment that is playing out right now for Iranians?
It could be. Look, let me put it this way, and I agree with everything Jamie said. It could be that. We just don't know, and you never know. You know, as Jamie said, the regime is extremely unpopular. It does depend on its kind of heft and its nuclear ability to impress its people.
When they say the regime is very unpopular, are they talking about Israel or Iran? I got a little confused. What's Netflix Yahoo's approval rating over there? Just curious.
Pulled it. It's a really serious power, so that could really weaken it.
I know he's talking about Iran. I'm being sarcastic.
It is all they have. But
being
I think
sarcastic.
Even if it doesn't achieve that, I think this is an historic moment because I do think we are demonstrating, the United States and Israel between them are demonstrating that Iran is not the power that we thought it was, frankly, even just a year ago.
Let's see. Hang on. Where's he at? You claimed I attacked you for months. I've never said anything bad about you until now. Why are you still on the Trump train when he betrayed his base? I'm saying this. I voted for him 3 times. Well, I disagree because I'm pretty sure you have said some stuff in the past. But regardless of that, you said something stupid now. If Trump betrayed his base, then why the fuck did you vote for him for a 3rd time, retard? Because he did the same thing in 2020. So why the fuck did you vote for him in 2024 after he did the same thing that he's done now at this point in time? No one, I have no idea what the future holds. You have no idea what the future holds. At this very moment in time, at 3:31 on this Monday, Eastern Standard Time, this situation is playing out literally how the 2020 situation played out. So why the fuck did your stupid ass vote for Donald Trump after he betrayed you in 2020? Fucking hell, man. Do some research. Get off Twitter. Quit listening to fucking people that don't know what the fuck they're talking about. If he betrayed you with these actions, then that means he betrayed you in 2020. Why were you dumb enough to vote for him in 2024? Fucking hell. The slightest bit of research. It's all you have to do.
Ago. After October 7th, when Hamas committed the atrocity.
Is that Enrique Iglesias again? Hang on. Why do you cuss so much, bro? Because fuck you. That's why.
That it did, and Israel has spent the last 18 months destroying all of Iran's proxies in the region. Now it's taken out Iran's defenses. The United States essentially has taken out Iran's military capabilities. That, even if it's not a Berlin Wall moment in the sense that we're going to see a revolution in Iran and a more peaceful democratic government, it's a real blow to Iranian power, the biggest blow that we've seen in the last 50 years.
It's so ironic, isn't it, Jamie? Because I think about, the Ayatollah looking at October 7th and realizing now that was the day that it started to fall apart for him in many ways.
October 7th was the wake-up call, certainly for Israel. And Israel has changed its orientation from believing, well, maybe we can live with these threats, to recognizing that we can't. And whether it's death to Israel or death to America, for Israel or America, to see a country that is
I owe you 50. No. Because I don't know if I've made a mistake on this one. Like, if it's a genuine mistake, I will. But I'm pretty sure that guy has said stuff before. But no, I can't. But the argument that if you've always hated Trump, then that's a fair assessment. If you've always hated Trump, it doesn't mean I'm going to take your claim seriously. But at least you've been consistent with your hatred. But you can't tell me that Trump has betrayed his base by doing something now that he did in 2020. That's a stupid argument to make. And that shows me that you're just listening to people spewing bullshit on Twitter. So, I can't take criticisms like that seriously at all. Unless they're in the super chat form, then they have a lot more value. Babo Yogi, I got that one. Horror Amarada, I got that one. Elite Neo, I got that one. Diane, I got that one. Beastie says, your haters got Jeremy derangement syndrome. Andrew Sierra says he wants you to grab them by the PP. Orange Gotten says Jeremy's gay. Praise Ara. Phil McCracken says spell I cup backwards. I'm being careful. I know that joke, but I'm on the internet. I got to be careful about the shit I say because I'm very much don't want to offend anyone. Andrew CR says, Jeremy, can you explain to me what's a Mossad? Thank you. A Mossad is something that you get at a certain establishment, generally with Asian women. It can range anywhere from $20 to $200, depending on the level of service that it's offering. You usually end up with a happy ending. That's through the research I've found. Let's see. That's what when you go there, like they say, like, oh, would you like a Mossad? Would you like a Mossad? So that's what I was thinking when people said I work for Mossad. I was like, a massage parlor? Like a massage? Delta Entertainment Linko Kenobi says, what's up, Jeremy? Thanks for the reply on the 199 shirt I got. Also going to knock you out again in Mario Kart World Wednesday on the Wednesday or weather on Wednesday night for that weather person lol. I trust Donald Trump. He knows what he's doing. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Aaron James says he makes money off of good as the reports. That's right. I make money off anything, because that's what a good grifter does. Joe C says, just wanted to say, I love how people panic over the slightest things. Brings the lockdowns to mind. A bunch of panicking like women do better people. 100%. Southeastern Kaiju says, who remembers that Iraq nearly had a nuclear power plant completed until Israel disassembled it in 1980? Look it up. Aaron James says, I hate typos in a supercharge. I meant weather. Babo Yogi says, just ordered the Uncle IDOT, no long sleeves, lame. We might can add long sleeves. I'll have to see. I was very happy with Linko Kenobi's picture, though, because it turned out really good. That's a pretty good looking shirt. So I'm pretty happy with that one. So we should have it in the store till Friday, I believe. So Shane says, I need a laugh. Can you read California Sheriff's apology to the peaceful protesters or peaceful scientists again? I'll see if I can find that one. Ping Pong says, no happy ending for Jeremy. That's $20. $20 indeed. Over on Rumble, we're caught up on Rumble. Okay, so oh, whoa. Wasn't that was scary. Don Lemon says Michelle Obama is much better looking than Melania Trump. Holy crap. What do you think, chat? What do you think? Woo! That just showed up in my feed and it kind of scared me, okay? It kind of scared me. A little bit. It was a little scary. Okay, right here, Trump. Let's see. We got Steve Witkoff has remained in contact with Iran since American weekend strikes against their nuclear facilities. President Trump has never stopped on his attempt for long-term peace. So there we go.
Trump's Mideast envoy, Steve Witkoff, has remained in contact with Iranians since those U.S. weekend strikes. What does that tell you about this moment in this conflict?
I think it really speaks to the fact that both Tehran, but also the Trump administration and the president himself are looking for off-ramps. And the fact that there are channels open, direct or indirect lines over multiple parties, from the Omanis to the Qataris to the Turks. There are many countries trying to find ways to bridge the divide. That's very important. What's really urgently needed is an opportunity for the Iranian foreign minister and Steve Witkoff to speak, perhaps without so much pomp and circumstance, but privately, discreetly, to take the temperature down and to find ways of de-escalation. There is a moment right now where the Iranians have clearly signaled they're looking to de-escalate. President Trump appears to look like he's willing to climb down after having struck Iran in an unprecedented way. So it's about giving space for that de-escalation to happen. And then, of course, building out what the diplomatic discussions will be and what both sides can agree upon at the negotiating table.
Yeah, so I mean, for all the stuff that we're hearing out there, the reality of everything we're seeing and the information that we're getting is that they're trying to get this de-escalated and everything back to normal. And if that's the case, might I suggest something for the Trump administration, since this is all calming down, since everything is calming down, might I suggest that we go back to this situation and get the Epstein files released? Since everything is calming down, I just imagine you have the time to go ahead and let's go back to this disaster and let's go ahead and get the Epstein files released. You know, since you brought all of these influencers to the White House and handed out, you know, binders and made a big, you know, hoopla over the Epstein files, maybe we can go ahead and get that one done. Maybe we can get back to that one, right? So time will tell. Time will tell. I'm thinking no, but you never know. Maybe Pam Bondi actually decides to get some of the work done that she was brought in to do. What is this? Speaking of that, Matt Gaetz reveals Epstein was an operator in a foreign government and was used to fuel and escalate endless wars like Iraq. Really?
Really quickly here, you made a huge amount of news the last
Never
time
heard
you
that
were on
one
the show.
before. I'm being
Last time you were on the
sarcastic.
show, there was hurricanes hitting Florida. You came, and I was in the Panhandle. You just came, and we just kind of like Spitfire, like did a live, right? Just on like a back patio. And dude, that clip has gone so thermonuclear of you saying, listen, I think that they let a foreign government go kill Epstein. And I think this goes way deeper than anybody ever thought, and that America allowed it. And to a man, Matt, we continue to put up this, whether it's Dershowitz or whether it's members of the first administration, we put up this article of Alex Acosta backing you up, saying that Epstein was intel. And nobody's been able to explain it. No one's been able to explain it. Since you're not in Congress anymore, thought we might as well just take a shot in the dark. Still seems to be a prescient issue. What the hell's going on here, Matt?
Well, I mean, at the time when Epstein was involved in these activities, there was a strong desire to keep the United States engaged in the regime change war in Iraq and to keep the UK engaged in that war as well. And so one of the things that intelligence does in the United States and around the world is get people in compromising situations and then use those compromising situations to control behavior. And like you look at some of the people who have had great proximity to Epstein, and it's people who are prominent in business, academia, politics, and that was an op that like was lather, rinse, repeat elsewhere. So I think one of the reasons why there is reticence with some in every U.S. government to really tell the truth that Epstein was but an operator for a foreign government. They don't want to do that because they don't want to have to acknowledge the extent to which the United States does similar stuff. I'm not saying Epstein stuff, but U.S. intelligence absolutely leverages.
Oh, my good buddy, The Fire Rises is here. Where'd he go? The Fire Rises. Where's he at? He's been mad at me for years. Here it is. Can you tell your subscribers how woke you really are, D-Day Cobra? Yeah, I'll admit it. I'll admit it. I prefer films with all female casts. Yeah. The films that I watch have all female casts. Particularly films of the adult nature. I'm a big advocate of adult films having female representation. I am all for female representation in adult films. I think that we should have nothing but females in adult films. I think those are the best adult films, all female led. I think those are the best. I believe in female representation in my woke films, my woke adult films. So yeah, I'm busted completely. You got me. Done.
Compromise over people in other countries in order to get them to do what we want. And I'm not criticizing that, but the problem is once you start peeling the layers of the onion back on Epstein, it starts to expose the modus operandi that is used by MI6, Mossad, CIA, Indian intelligence, you name it.
So that's what you think was going on here?
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't
obviously we've
I
covered
don't even think there's
extensively
another logical, but the
Mossad. We've covered extensively the Mossad connection. Gone through as much as we can ad nauseum on this program, and this has clearly been a hand grenade. It's amazing. Like just a real quick follow up on this, Matt. This is like a hand grenade that like everyone was on our show promising like day one we're gonna show you here's a good example. Here's a box of hard drives that they found in Epstein's house. Wow, look at all these hard drives. They're marked evidence, Matt. That has an evidence tape on it. FBI special agent in charge says we didn't put that evidence tape there. That's Jeffrey Epstein putting the evidence tape on all these box of hard drives. Haven't seen any of it. And it's like this hand grenade that was handed to the Trump administration that the pin was pulled and like no one's been able to figure it out.
Well, I think there are probably some of your viewers who would just say, well, create a website and load all that stuff up there and let the internet sleuths work it out. But let me just posit a countervailing theory, right? If the Justice Department and the FBI become in the business of publishing investigative records
I want to remind everyone that this was Trump's pick for attorney general, and they basically everybody involved that had to approve it essentially said there's no way in hell that we're going to get this guy as your attorney general, which is 100% bullshit. He should have been the attorney general.
From cases that were never tried, like Jeffrey Epstein was never tried, then what is the limiting principle on that? Because you know what would happen if Democrats took control and your show continues to blow up? They're going to go and like find some curated piece of evidence and they're going to cast it out of context and say Benny Johnson was an agent of the Russian government because he, we all know that.
That'd be crazy if that happened, Matt. That'd be wild. Wow.
Benny's never been accused of that. It's never happened.
Right.
What a fiction.
Right. And so, but you could see how the process of selectively leaking investigative materials on cases that were never subjected to rigorous evidentiary review, cross-examination, admissibility standards, chain of custody. If you just allow all that to flood into the public square, then I I do wonder, like, is it just every time a government switches power, do they go find anything derogatory, or that could even be miscast as derogatory regarding anyone and say, well, aha, Benny Johnson is actually Vladimir Putin. We've never seen them in the same place at the same time.
Yep. Well, it's like Mission Impossible. Pull the rubber, skin mask off. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I can get that. They did this on Trump. Well, listen, like they did this on Trump. I mean, how much discovery do they have on Trump? Right. So, like, I guess you're right. Like, what is the limiting principle there?
Yeah. And a lot of these people are like dead or dying. I mean, Bill Richardson, George Mitchell, like they're not alive anymore. So
really quickly here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that I really like Matt Gaetz, and I've always liked Matt Gaetz, and I'm glad that he's continuing to call out things that a lot of people don't want to call out. So it's sad that he is not our attorney general, and we ended up with Pam Blondie, who's been a disappointment to say the least at this point in time, and it's very annoying from that perspective. Okay, let me catch up on where are we at. There we go. Okay, let's see where we're at on here. Ping Pong says no happy ending for Jeremy. Oh, that's $20. SBZ says any good massage parlor in Florida. Hard to Soul says Don Lemon likes dudes. So Scroats Magoat says well, Don Lemon is gay. So Jen says, how long did people expect Trump to wait before attacking Iran? He waited and waited, and Iran did not move. If people think he wanted this attack, they are dead wrong. Metal Dog for $5. Well, for $2, and it says $5. That's a good way to get super chats through. And Kyle T says, just in Netflix, Yahoo, and Putin are set to star in the new remake of The Parent Trap. Let's see. Udet over on Rumble for 10 says, hey, Jeremy. Let's see. Love the U.S. and Trump, including his administration. Can't stop laughing at people pissing their pants about the attacks versus the Iranian regime. Killing of Soleimani played out the same. Hail the 199. Exactly. And look, I mean, even I think I've been fairly calm, but even I overreacted to a little bit of the information too, because it was frustrating. And so I do get it, but it now that things are calming down, it does appear that President Trump and the administration have had a very, very good plan for all of this. What is this?
We'll call it, let's make Iran great again. Does that make sense? Make Iran great again. It's okay with me.
That was in 2019.
At Interactive Brokers, independent.
He said that shit in 2019. This dude is the most consistent person out there. Now everybody's freaking out. Because he says, make Iran great again. He said it in 2019. But you said you didn't vote for this. This is not who I voted for. I voted for Trump 3 times, and he says, make Iran great again. Well, he just said it in 2019. So why did you vote for him in 2020? Why did you vote for him in 2024 if this is not what I voted for? Oh man, it's so funny. Trump is just so funny. Having TDS is I don't know, man. I don't know how you get over it. I guess it's something that there's no cure for. There's no cure for it. Because people have memories of a goldfish. Well, that's true. I mean, we all do though in the social media age. We all do. We all kind of move on from the next thing, and that's just how the social media world is. So I do get it to an extent from that perspective. Okay, let's see if there's any more. Yeah, like this Diddy situation is crazy. So Sean Diddy Combs' defense team to invoke Iran conflict in closing argument. That is that story. A lot of people are running with this story now, which is the weirdest thing I've ever heard. And I personally hope that that's exactly what happens. I hope that they pull the Iran card. Let's see. What is this? Oh, we got that. Okay. Dude, that transgender thing or whatever, that thing keeps showing up. Now everybody's talking about that damn that weirdo that's doing the news report. So what's the is she a Mexican chick? Who's that Mexican chick that the weather girl that everybody freaks out over? Because I owe the audience for showing that. What's her name? Chat will tell me in a minute. I know chat's going to know her name. They're going to know her name very soon. Yannette? Okay, hang on. So the fact that you guys know that is pretty funny. There we go. Is this it? 2.5 million views. 2.5 million views on this.
Me da poder saludarles a esta hora de la mañana y en este día tan especial que estamos festejando a todos los niños hermosos el día de hoy.
I understand everything she's saying.
Excelentes condiciones para que lo disfrute con ellos, lléveselos
I
al
understand
parque,
everything
al
she's
Paseo
saying.
Santa Lucía, a donde sea. Lo importante es que
I
disfrutemos de
agree.
este día al máximo, por supuesto, ya que son la alegría.
I agree with everything she's saying.
Condiciones, tenemos vientos provenientes del sureste en los 3 kilómetros por hora, la humedad se mantiene media marcando 60% y la presión hasta los podemos ver por lo pronto el día de hoy al fin de semana como podemos.
I agree with everything she's saying.
Podemos ver, por lo pronto el día de hoy alcanzaremos la temperatura hasta los 26 grados centígrados. Próximos 5 días que nos esperan mismas condiciones para el día de mañana viernes, mínima de 16 y máxima de 27 grados centígrados. Vienen cambios importantes en la temperatura. A partir del sábado nuestro cielo comenzará a nublarse y esto, bueno, es debido a la probabilidad de lluvia, pero ya sería muy mínima, mínima de 21.
The more viewers went up since I started playing this video. Viewers went up. Probably not the only thing that went up, but viewership went up. Welcome to the internet, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the internet. 4.4 million.
Muy buenas tardes para ti, para todas las personas que nos están acompañando en esta tarde de sábado y con lluvia. Ya al momento aquí en el centro de la ciudad de Monterrey, la temperatura se mantiene marcando los 27 grados centígrados. El viento completamente en calma, la humedad en el 72% y la presión marcando hasta los 1011 milibares. Para el día de hoy continuará la lluvia muy presente en diferentes puntos del área metropolitana. Si va a salir de casa, no olviden manejar con precaución, ya que la lluvia está muy fuerte, principalmente al sur de nuestro estado. Tomar 27 grados.
Okay, we have to move on. We have to move on, or I'm not going to focus on everything else that's going on right now. I'm going to completely lose focus. Oh no. Oh no, I hate to do this. This is not planned. I promise this is not planned. I promise that this is, I swear this just happened this way, okay? Of course, my internet's not working at the moment, or at least this video is not working, so that's probably going to save a lot of you. Let me refresh. Well, it's not working. So is Twitter down for anybody else right now? Trump tweet? Did Trump tweet? Okay. Like when you say tweet, did he tweet True Social? Did he tweet Twitter? Real Donald Trump. Let's see. Nothing from Trump. Nothing from Trump. Let me go to True Social. If I'm even signed into True Social. I'm not even signed into this shitty fucking platform. I gotta remember my password for it now. I'm not the biggest fan of True Social. I wish he would just get on Twitter like everybody else. Okay, here we go. Got it. Okay, here we go. True Social. 4 minutes ago. So, okay. Is this it right here? Let's go full screened it. I'd like to thank the highly Let's see. I'd like to thank the highly respected, Emir of Qatar for all he has done in seeking peace in the region. Regarding the attack today at the American base in Qatar, I am pleased to report that in addition to no Americans being killed or wounded, very importantly, that there has been no Qataris killed or wounded. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And then he also says Iran has officially responded. Responded to our attack on the nuclear facilities with a very weak response, which we expected. We have effectively encountered. They have been 14 missiles fired. 13 were knocked down. One was set free because of this. I'm seeing what all he says. So I will enthusiastically encourage Israel to do the same. So he's enthusiastically encouraging Israel to do the same in terms of peace and harmony in the region. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So he is calling for peace. He's essentially calling for peace right now. So I'm digging it. I'm digging the, and of course they're talking about it right here.
For no lives to be lost and nobody to be injured, perhaps Iran can now proceed to peace and harmony in the region, and I will enthusiastically encourage Israel to do the same. Thank you for your attention in this matter. The president also goes on.
In this matter, he said to this matter. I'm the one that knows how to read, apparently. He said, thank you for your attention in this matter. No. Trump said, thank you for your attention to this matter.
Thank the government of Qatar for what it has done in seeking peace for the region. Regarding the attack today at the base in Qatar, I'm pleased to report that in addition to no Americans being killed or wounded, very importantly, there have been no Qataris killed or wounded. So the president indicating in that first post that he had on True Social there that he did get a heads up, the United States did get a heads up on this attack, according to the president. And then he's hoping that this is a bit of an off-ramp here, a way to de-escalate this whole thing. He says he's ready for peace. So Iran indicating with an attack on a hardened position in the Middle East that the U.S. got a tip-off from beforehand, or an indication that this attack was coming, is a way for Iran to say, we've settled the score here, nobody's gotten hurt, let's move forward. Let's see if there are conversations ongoing between the two governments or a way to try to end this conflict. President also indicating that he's going to lean on Israel to do the same. We will see how all of this plays out. But those early indications coming from the president, who, according to his schedule, was meeting with his national security team and also meetings in the Situation Room with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the Secretary of Defense, Martha.
Stunning. Rich Edson, thank you very much. There are a lot of posts from President Trump just moments ago. This one catches my eye. Most importantly, they've gotten it all out of their system, and we hope there will be no further hate. That is the story for today. The story continues. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
They've gotten it all out of their system. So right now, things are looking very, very good under the current circumstances. Things are looking very good.
Trump responding to the Iran attack on a U.S. military base in Qatar. He just wrote on Truth Social, Iran has officially responded to our obliteration of their nuclear facilities with a very weak response, which we expected, and have very effectively countered. There have been 14 missiles fired, 13 were knocked down, and one was set free because it was headed in a non-threatening direction. I am pleased to report that no Americans were harmed and hardly any damage was done. Most importantly, they've gotten it all out of their system, and there will, hopefully, be no further hate. I want to thank Iran for giving us early notice, which made it possible for no lives to be lost and nobody to be injured. Perhaps Iran can now proceed to peace and harmony in the region, and I will enthusiastically encourage
That's
Israel
my
to do the
president,
same.
baby.
Thank you for your attention.
That's my
this matter.
president.
And now to this Fox News alert. Iran striking back earlier today, launching 6 missiles at the El Udeid U.S. military base in Qatar. This happened a little bit earlier today, and the same amount of bombs used in the American bombing 6 of its nuclear facilities over the weekend, precisely the same number as launched by the United States, 6. It was a shocking development, but one we had planned to cover at length before all of this unfolded today. Information is moving fast and coming in by the minute. Here's where we stand at this hour. We're waiting to hear from the White House, where President Trump and his national security team have been monitoring the situation. Meantime, Israel is continuing its campaign against Iran, launching missiles throughout the day. And as for that attack on the Al Udeid in Qatar, Al Udeid Air Base, military base in Qatar. Iran says it was targeted because it's outside of its location of populated areas. A U.S. military official telling Fox no missiles reached the base and there were no casualties, as just quoted by President Trump. Neither detail seems to deter Tehran. They are suggesting, a senior official is at least, that they are not done with retaliation. But Trump might be. A military source telling the New York Post, quote, Trump has no intention of striking back after Iran's failed retaliation. Meantime, the New York Times, confirming what was just written by President Trump, reporting the officials said Iran symbolically needed to strike back at the United States, but at the same time carry it out in a way that allowed all sides an exit ramp. They described it as a similar strategy to 2020 when Iran gave Iraq heads up before firing ballistic missiles at an American base in Iraq following the assassination of its top general. That confirms what we just heard from President Trump, that there was warning before these missiles were launched at an American.
Failed retaliation is a funny way of putting it, dude. Failed retaliation.
Intelligence officer Captain Todd Sawhill and Trey Yingst with the latest from Israel. First, let's start with Congressman August Pfluger. Congressman, thanks for being with us here today. Let's start together. You served at this base in Qatar. You know a little bit about what's stationed there, what assets the American military maintains in Qatar. Tell us what you know about that location.
Well, Will, thanks for having me. And yeah, this is the...
So this is the thing I was wanting to show you guys earlier that I was apologizing for. But I haven't seen the clip. Here we go. Heated moment from Democrat, is it Rose DeLario and A.G. Bondi? Look at this idiot.
To stop the flow of dangerous illegal drugs like fentanyl.
As I was attempting to answer your question very calmly, unlike you,
excuse me, Madam
saying,
Attorney General. Answer yes or no. Tell me what the numbers are. I don't want to hear all of your filibuster about this. Go ahead, please. Tell us the numbers.
So we are reorganizing. ATF agents want to be out on the street.
Okay,
working
let me
with
answer the
DEA
question for you.
agents.
I'm going to answer it for you.
Bro, we live in a fucking Batman movie. Like, literally, it's Gotham. She looks like a Gotham City villain. This is the craziest shit I've ever seen, dude.
Paige, Mr. Chairman, you give me a certain amount of time, and I have a high respect for you, but I don't have to listen, nor do my colleagues have to listen to a filibuster when it's a simple question. But I have an answer to your question. It's page 146 of the department's fiscal year 2026 budget, and the performance summary explicitly says, and let me quote, ATF will eliminate 541 industry operation investigators, reducing ATF's capacity to regulate the firearms and explosive industries by approximately 40% in fiscal year 2026.
What a disaster. Like, this is an elected official. This is absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, I mean, how can anyone take her seriously? Like, why would anyone take her seriously? It is embarrassing. It's truly embarrassing that this clown is in this position right here. And she's just, yes, satanic. It's it. But I did want to show everybody because I saw that the video kept pausing up. So, but yeah, the bigger story right now is President Trump thanking Iran for giving him a heads up before they fired ballistic missiles towards a U.S. base in Qatar, saying no Americans were harmed. The president encouraged both Iran and Israel to proceed to peace and harmony. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Man, the Trump is George W. Bush crowd is struggling right now. I mean, struggling. The Trump is a warmonger crowd is struggling right now, struggling big time. So this is the peace through strength right here, president. This is the guy that I voted for. This is the guy that I supported. And this is the guy that I kept telling the Panicans, let's see if you have questions, if you have concerns, If you have criticisms, share them. I shared my criticisms, but I also said, let's give it some time and let's figure out if this is the right move, because President Trump has more information than we do. President Trump has more information than anybody else does. And now here we are, and things are looking pretty good for the most part. So, time will tell. Time will tell. Kyle T says just in. Oh, I got that one. Jay Hamilton says, I bet Robert Kraft knows where the Mossad parlors are in Florida. Oh, Robert Kraft certainly knows. Robert Kraft certainly knows. Andrew CR says, weather versus turnaround, which one wins? I'm going to take weather. Metal Dog says, last one was supposed to be at B5, but I'm retarded and can't figure out super chats. You, sir, belong here. If you're retarded, you belong here. Thank you. Troy New says, if I knew for a fact Trump would get us into an actual war with Iran, I would still have voted for him over crazy Kamala. Perspective. War Breer says that's a proper ratio. Darth Gabble says, breaking news, the president has activated Master Chief John 117 to finish the fight against Iran's nuclear facilities. Aaron James says, Jessica Lindstrom, welcome back. Chat, missed you. Flex Tape says, let Iran know want good fixing material. Flex Tape. Kyle T says, I remember when they first invented chocolate. Smeeky says, that's my sister. Spirian says, purple-haired person ask a question, then it says, let me answer that for you. Am I getting that right? Harley Dave for 5 says, thank you for your attention to this matter. It is glorious to see. What's up, Harley Dave? Good to see you here, brother. And everything is finally getting into perspective. So Autumn's Prime says it's at 0714. Lovelies should be Chun-Li. Check her X account. Okay. I will do some research on that. John freaking Murdoch for 50 says, hey, Jeremy, this is almost a real job. Not cool. Not really. It's still a fake job, but I appreciate it, John Murdoch. John Murdoch in the house. YouTube is a fake job, and anybody that tells you differently has never had a real job. That's for sure. This is a fake job. So thank you, John freaking Murdoch in the house. Johnny the Whiz says, speaking of Epstein, you remember the Virginia girl that passed away? She left a recorded testimony. Want me to send it to you on Twitter? It lists a couple of men who we all suspect all along. If it's legit, I mean, there's a lot of fake stuff out there, so I haven't heard about that. So if it's legit, I can take a look at it. And but that's the update right there. So I think it's been about 3.5 hours, so we're probably going to call it. If more happens, I'll go live again. Oh, wait, hang on. Trump just tweeted again. Congratulations, world. It's time for peace. Let's freaking go. Trump. I'm just going to retweet it. This is the guy they called George W. Bush. This is the guy they said was a warmonger. Look at there. Congratulations, world. It's time for peace. That is my president right there. President Trump taking a victory tour. You love to see it. So there you go. Everybody says he was a warmonger. Everybody said he was starting World War III, and Iran attacks or responds with their retaliation attack, but it was all posturing, because if you do any research, you would remember that the same thing happened in 2020 after, the strikes in Iran with Soleimani. The Iran had to posture, and they sent missiles that they preemptively told Trump about so that they could save face with their people. And this is all playing out exactly like the same thing played out. So there you go. President Trump, the greatest president of all time, and he has destroyed the narrative once again. You gotta trust President Trump, man. You got to do it. So that's where we are. All these, dude, the meltdown. I can't wait to watch the freakouts on Twitter. It's going to be so good. It's going to be so good. Woo! Israel's dragging him into another war. Oh, he's a puppet for Israel. He's a puppet for Israel. So I'm probably going to go live again tonight so we can do a recap of all of this. So we'll see. Southeastern Kaiju says he can't keep getting away with this. He can't, but he does because he is the GOAT. So yeah, so I'm sure Twitter is going to be very calm. I'm sure everybody's going to be very, very calm about this. Yeah, everybody is posting his tweets now. And again, I will continue to call them tweets because I'm not going to call them truths. I think that's mega gay. For all of Trump's amazing marketing that he does, and he is a great marketer, calling it Truth Social and calling them truths is probably the worst thing that he's ever marketed. Like, Truth Social is a terrible fucking name. It really is. The Ayatollah has tweeted directly at President Trump. The Ayatollah says, I regret some of my posts about President Trump last week. They went too far. If you get it, you get it. Like, if you know, you know. If you know, you know. This is Elon's tweet when he apologized to Trump. So it's not a real tweet, but when Elon kind of like apologized to Trump, this is Elon's apology tweet, and so they're just putting it's the Ayatollah. Woo! We are taking victory laps today. The memes are flowing. President Trump is calling for world peace. He's not calling for peace between Iran and the United States. He's calling for world peace. We've got memes flowing. And I think a lot of people owe President Trump an apology. It's going to be a great day. It's going to be a great, great day. So yeah, we're going to end it there. And I will follow up with you later tonight. If there's more, I'll do another stream tonight. If not, I'll be back on the grind. I'll probably be back home tomorrow. So everything will be rocking and rolling then. Little Orphan Funk House says, Jeremy's a fig, perhaps the biggest fig. Everyone says it. Reminds me of Allison Cooper. Thank you for your attention to this matter, Donald J. Trump. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Have a great evening. And pray for President Trump. Pray for our troops and pray for this amazing administration as they continue to set a wonderful example. Thank you, guys. Have a good evening, and we'll talk to you later. Bye, everyone.